from Nathan's view. Wow. Wow. Cat-like reflexes.
Oh goodness, Sebastian Coffre, another mistake for him, and he is a sitting duck down the front stretch here with the double draft here for Overbay and Ritters. Are they going to make it 3 wide? Ritters goes for it on Overbay, while Overbay goes for it on Coffre. Up the inside, coming into Doohan corner, and Coffre might have to yield here. He's already lost the place to Overbay. He's going to switch to the outside and try and widen the entry to keep Ritters behind him. Looks like he is going to do that. Late apex, and that will work out all right for Sebastian Coffre, but it's slim pickings at the moment for the number 28.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
It's already round 7 of the PRL Multiclass night. 4 races left, including tonight, to get this thing wrapped up. Who is still in it? Who is out and hoping to play spoiler? Well, we'll find out first with the GT4s and TCRs tonight at Laguna Seca. Welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel, where we've got tonight's action live. Hi, I'm Adam Young, and with me in the booth is Michael Johnson. Behind the scenes, turning the knobs and twisting the dials is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Let's take a look at one of America's premier facilities with tonight's track guide.
Welcome to Laguna Seca. Located just east of Monterey, California, it's hard to deny that this is one of the more scenic American road courses. It travels up and down a hillside which not only offers spectacular views, but one of racing's most iconic corners. Clocking in at 2¼ miles in length, 11 turns split up the current configuration. I say current because up until 1988, the track's layout was shockingly simple with a mere 9 dangerously fast corners. But despite becoming a much more technical track, this difficult nature was retained in its modern form. Turn 6 in particular places an emphasis on precision and daring with its tricky dip at the apex and narrow racing line. But the most well-known spot on the track is of course the corkscrew. Blind and kinked on entry, it then whips the driver through a chicane which drops you nearly 60 feet. It's earned a reputation worldwide for forcing even the most daring competitors to second-guess themselves. But there's honestly a refreshingly wide variety in types of corners, making it a perfect track for driver coaching and training. Elevation changes, differing cambers, and every sort of apex imaginable leaves seasoned veterans and newcomers alike spending hours trying to perfect a lap. With the track becoming popular for hosting IMSA, IndyCar, and MotoGP in its recent history, it also brings out lots of vintage racers due to the Monterey historics each year. Likely to remain a fixture on the American racing scene, this legendary circuit is almost always high on drivers' best of lists. Its history and its uniqueness are sure to delight all for years to come.
Well, you know, I've always got to do this whenever we're paired together. Michael, I'm going to lean on you for your real-world experience. And I remember last week we were talking about the corkscrew and just how the elevation difference, you don't get any kind of appreciation for it in the game as you do just kind of sitting there in real life and going down it in real life.
I was going through some pictures, some race pictures recently of stuff I had from different track walks I've done. And one of them was looking back up the corkscrew. And even in that still picture, it was incredibly obvious just how steep that turn is. It's a little scary. I don't recommend going down it on a bicycle. I can tell you that from experience. It's kind of, you're falling through the corkscrew. Now, I had a really great discussion recently with an icon of coaching, and we were going back and forth talking about it and how everybody focuses on the corkscrew here. It's not really the place you're going to see time made up. Biggest place, really, according to me and Ross Bentley, is going to be turn 9, Rainy Curve. You see it there on your screen, left side. It's that one right after the corkscrew. About 5 ways to go through it if you ask me, 10 if you ask Ross. He still hasn't filled me in on the other 5 ways to go through there, but it is one of those corners where you can make up so much time, and it sets you up beautifully for turn 10, the right-hander just after it, as a great passing zone. Now, turn 11, of course, you would think that's the most important one. It leads down onto this long straightaway because turn 1 is essentially not a turn. You're going through it full tilt boogie, and then you're into the brakes for the Andretti hairpin, where you've got a double left. Some people single apex it, some people double apex it. I'm sure there's a religious cult out there that decides which one you want to be in, but yeah, for me, it's really only one way or the other. I have a hard time separating real life racing from sim racing. Now, across these 11 turns, though, you've got 2.23 miles to get out there and do everything you can to get a good tight lap. The secret is getting just dangerously close to the dirt right on the outside, running it all the way through there and just getting so super close that you're actually kicking up dirt. Now, another thing that iRacing has done beautifully at this track is simulated the changing conditions of the dirt getting onto the track. Somebody kicks up a little bit, or it's a windy track, a little bit of dirt gets out there, so your traction changes every single lap, and you're always searching for traffic traction here. So over these 2.238 miles, a little over 3.6 kilometers, it's an ever-changing field. You just have to play around every lap, but it's what makes it one of my favorite tracks in the United States.
Well, and that's, of course, one thing that I always like leaning on you from, Michael, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, you won't find any other broadcaster in the iRacing community that has as much real-world experience as we do here on GSRC. Hey, we've got a few people to thank here before we get the show really going. First up, our broadcast is brought to you by ASR, owned and operated by passionate sim racers, advanced sim racing designs and builds, the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
Tonight's broadcast is also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL Multiclass Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
And, of course, qualifying is underway. Rob Campbell right now is on track, and he's also leading your drivers' point standings for the GT4s. Have a 30-point lead right now over Danik Van Dale. Really running away with this thing with 3 wins here so far this season. He's fishing the top 5 every single race. Danik Van Dale is really trying to just hang in there and keep touch with him. Same with Peter Newhook. Dean Giroux is in 4th. Devin Lamke is in 5th. We switch over to the team championship and 5-5 Motorsports. Not surprised. That's Rob Campbell and Peter Newhook right there. 340 points. They're all running away again from the Advanced Sim Racing team over top of the Western Mass Motorsports team as well. How about those TCR standings there, Michael?
Well, the TCR standings are going to be tight, but one quick comment on there. Derek Van Dale's drive last week, wow. He's the reason they are in second place. He's in second place, and they are catching up to the 5-5 guys. So that's going to be interesting. But with TCR, we've got Andrew Hardman at the top. Andrew Waring right behind him from Evolve Motorsport, Sim Sports. Ozzy Milwain, his teammate, right behind him. And then back to Slava Ukraini, Britannia Ice Sports. Michael Broomhead in 4th. Nick Horvath in P5, also with Evolve Sim Sports, 42 points back. Looking at the teams, Slava Ukraini, Britannia Ice Sports at 343 points with Evolve Sim Sports just nipping at their heels, 14 points back. Got a good bit to go, 110 points back from there. Goulbourne Britannia Racing, 124 back for your top 3. SJS is in 4th, and Flying Husky Racing in 5th.
And, of course, details here for tonight. This is the round 7 of 10, as we were talking about. The TCRs and GT4s do run a 35-minute race. It is open setup, drive-through penalty at 13, incidents, disqualification at 17. You do get a few bonus points. Also important to note, as we go into tonight, the GT3 and LMP2 race. Guess where it's at? Right here at Laguna Seca. And of course, that'll be a 45-minute race we'll have for you after this one. But, the stories of the race here so far, I really think that Rob Campbell's continued dominance in the GT4s is going to be something that is going to be again on display here tonight.
It is, and he's really pushing hard. We've got Nick McLaughlin up there at the top of the charts, though. Is that maybe help from a draft, or Rob is just kind of sandbagging a little bit? I don't put Rob down for one to sandbag. We have raced many, many times together.
And by the way, you just commentator curse Nick McLaughlin. He just spun it out on the tail end of the Rahal Straight. But there is a single car qualifying. Yes, so there's no draft to single car qualifying. But but that small difference, that 69 thousandths of a second difference. I mean, that's just slightly offline in one corner.
It is, and that's waiting just a moment. Oh, as we watch Rob Campbell get
Slightly
really
offline.
wide there. He was going for that 0.69 or 0.70 to make his way back up there. And this is, I think, going to be his third lap. He's got one more to go here. He starts his fourth lap. That one was kind of slow. We saw why. We saw where. But now, if we hold on here and keep watching Rob run through this, he's going to take that double apex on turn 2. That's kind of the sim method of doing it. In real life, I like to do a single apex late, but in the sim, I've kind of fallen into the habit of doing the double. It's hard. I like to do it the same way I do it in real life, but look at it come through here. Right up on that curbing on the inside, takes every last millimeter all the way to the exit of turn 4, comes into the braking zone hard on the brakes, and then nice lift back to throttle. See if he can just push it right out all the way to the edge. Now here's one of the first spots he's going to be able to make up time. As we come up here, left turn into turn 6, get on that throttle quickly, not get too much. I think he was still on track there. This looks pretty decent. And if I'm looking at his predictive lap time, actually it's a little bit off. It looks like he's doing a 29, but he could make up some time. Ooh, but I don't know if he got a cut there. That could have been a course cut as he came through corkscrew. iRacing, you got to get that ribbon up. You please get that ribbon up. That makes such a huge difference. Those who've heard other broadcasts where I'm talking about it at the corkscrew in real life, there is a ribbon that you can turn and look at as you come into the into there. It's tied around one of those trees that you see off in the background just off track. That is your target, and that helps you get through there. So iRacing, please get us that ribbon there.
And now I got Peter Newhook here on your screen. He's going to complete this lap for us here real quick. I want to give the TCR guys some love. Sitting in 4th right now, see if he's able to improve on his time at all on that Aston, screaming down the front straightaway. And it doesn't look like... Okay, so it doesn't look like that one counted there for a second. So the TCRs here this season, Michael, Andrew and Andrew show has been pretty much the normal, but Andrew Waring, you see him down there in 5th, but that's not atypical for how his season's gone. He's actually not been the strongest qualifier when he hasn't won pole. He's won pole twice, but the other 4 races he hasn't been up there.
Well, that's what I like to call doing a me. Because I do the exact same thing. I am not the greatest qualifier. I'm more about consistency, and I always have a little bit left. And even in qualifying, when I know I can hang it out there, I just don't, because it's not in my nature to do that. But I will get all the way up onto the edge and just under it and right up there. But same thing happens in the race. I'm going what looks like qualifying pace during the race, and I think that's what Andrew Waring does. He gets out there and he runs a super consistent lap after lap. And the only thing that happens is the same thing that happens to Andrew Hardman, the other Andrew of the Andrew and Andrew show, is you get caught up in traffic a little bit. And when I say caught up in traffic, it goes both ways. These TCRs driving along with the GT4s, it's almost like the back couple in the field of GT4 could be, and often are, a little bit slower than the front couple in the TCR field.
All right, one last thing as qualifying wraps up here. This is one of the more difficult pit lane entries. We've even seen real life IndyCar guys hit the pit wall once they make that sharp left hand on a pit road. How's that going to be in these full body cars here tonight?
Well, it depends on how quickly you can get that wheel turned around, but it is hard. And if you're trying to turn on tires or turn off tires and click buttons and move around, it can get a little overwhelming. So you have to be careful with that. It can get in the way. So as long as they have everything set when they go in, they're going to be fine. It's just you've got to be prepared. You've got to think ahead.
All righty. Well, we were following the pole run there a few minutes ago. We saw Nick McLaughlin go off. We saw Rob Campbell not quite able to get back up there, and Nick McLaughlin is going to be able to have that lap hold down. He is going to be on pole here for tonight for your GT4s as we pull up that starting grid. So on the row 1, him and then Rob Campbell. Devin Lamke is going to be in 3rd. Peter Newhook in 4th. Carlos Lopez in 5th. Sean Mullahan at 6th. Dean Giroux is going to be sitting in 7th 7th in row 4. Alongside him is going to be Nicholas Kolander. Jeffrey Sabak and Don Bowden is going to be in row 5. Row 6 is going to go to Sylvian Bergeron, followed by my oval boss, Charles Sumner, in 12th, Piero Oliver Frechette, 13th, Pete Thomas, and 14th. That's going to be your row 7. Row 8 is going to go Christian Lasiak and Robert Galanotto. In row 8, row 9, Dave Peterson and Mike Witt.
And looking at our TCR grid, starting on row 1, well, it's the Andrew and Andrew show. Looks like Andrew Waring was able to pull it out there at the end. Alongside him, just about half a second back, is going to be Andrew Hardman. Row 2, Tyler Scarelli with Ozzie Milwane. This is going to get pretty scrappy. That's 2 teams over 2 rows split apart from each other. Then we have Phil Amaro. Nick Horvath is in 6th. Michael Broomhead in 7th. Parker Muirhead in 8th. James Doherty and Jeffrey Smith round out your top 10. Looking at row number 6, it's going to be Jean-Sebastien Giroux in 11th with Guillaume Huard in 12th. Joe McCauley, Brian Hoskins on row 7. Row 8 and finishing out is going to be Jerome Stanton along with Pete Bladen.
All right. That is your starting grid as we get ready to go racing here tonight at Laguna Seca. As Porsche Pace Car is making its way around the track, field is forming up. They were talking just a moment ago over driver's chat, just making sure that they were going to get the difference here tonight. The GT4s and TCR fields, a little bit more separation than I think they've had the last couple of weeks, so they're working on that. But you know, that's not as big of an issue, I think, in these 2 classes. This is what we see here later on tonight with the LMP2 and GT3s. These cars aren't that different in speed. In fact, the pole times between Nick McLaughlin and Andrew Waring, your 2 respective class pole sitters, only about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, and Andrew Waring is P11 overall, ahead of a couple of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the GT4s. You also have just one GT4 splitting the Andrew and Andrew show. Then there are 3 going back to Tyler Scarelli and Ozzie Milwane. That's actually my pick of the race for tonight. I think we're going to see a lot of back and forth between Ozzie and Tyler. Those guys are both really good, amazing drivers. I remember watching Tyler like in F3 for a while, and he's just got a beautiful touch of the car, and I expect to see wonderful things out of both of these guys, back and forth racing, keeping it exciting the whole night.
Well, the Porsche Pace Car has pulled off into the pit road entrance. They're going to round the last corner, and then Nick McLaughlin is waiting for the right point to get on the loud pedal, slowing him up. Green flag is out. We are racing for the PRL multi-class night. GT4s, TCRs, up GT4s, heading toward turn 1. Nick McLaughlin gets the whole shot. He is away clear. Rob Campbell looks like he is alone for 2nd, but the battle is for 3rd with Peter Newhook, Devin Lamke going side by side. And it looks like we do have at least one incident out there. It's one of the green and purple cars, and that's going to be interesting because those TCRs are coming up.
Yes, they are. They've made their way through turn 1, coming down into the braking zone for what a lot of people call turn 1, and it's the Andrew and Andrew show out front. They are closing up as that. Oh, we've got a spinner. Fortunately, he ejects out in time, but despite the huge gap that Andrew Waring got on the start, looks like Andrew Hardman has decided, no, you're not going to get away from me. I'm coming up to play. Right behind them, we've got Ozzie Milwane, Nick Horvath, and Tyler Scarelli bringing out their top
Nick
5.
McLaughlin is around, your leader in the GT4s, sitting broadside on the track. He gets off, get it straight. Oh, now he's going to be up for a recovery drive here for the rest of the night.
Well, remember last week's recovery drive? That was some amazing driving that we saw coming all the way back. I think, I forgot who it was. I can't remember who it was. The guy in P2 overall, that's who it was. He spun around and made the drive back to P2.
TCR's battle for the lead going through the corkscrew. Andrew Hardman is going to get it back from Andrew Waring. Clean pass, and now he's got his teammate right behind him with Ozzie Milwane. Ozzie Milwane, you were mentioning, he's going to be a strong contender here for tonight, hanging right on Waring's back rear wing.
And I was thinking Ozzy and Tyler were going to be going at it, but Tyler's just kind of holding the back, although he's making a look up the inside as we go to turn 11, gets his nose right up on the inside there, puts it down on the loud pedal. Can he keep it going? Nope, it looks like he's going to be held back by Nick Horvath. Just got a little bit better run out of there, but don't leave this, leave the TV, because right now we've got some amazing racing happening. Look at this entry to turn 2, getting it way out there. He's going to single apex. This is what I like to do in real life, and I think it's working in these TCR cars. But watch as he closes up here. He just comes in, gets the flick into this corner, dead on it, right out to that last little millimeter. But did you notice that that dirt kick up there? That's going to be there next lap. You watch.
Well, if we can, now that we'll keep an eye on the action here, but I want to go back and look at that first lap incident right there. As they were coming to the green flag of the GT4s, if we're able to go back to Galanotto and Christian Lasik, that's been probably the hardest hit here so far for today after Mick McLaughlin's kind of lazy spin. But looks like Galanotto just catches the dirt going through one, and the back end's going to come around with it, and Christian Lasik's just going to get blindsided here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you get stuck. Oh, wow, now that's, I'd like to see that from in-car. I didn't even notice that earlier. I noticed the purple and green car, but I didn't see that red, white, and blue car there.
Let's see if our esteemed director, Zach Johnson, can get the in-car for Christian Lasik. I think that's one we're asking about here, and he's like, all of a sudden, it's just side of Galanotto's.
Yeah, nothing you can do there.
Yeah,
nothing you can do.
Just along for the ride. So not a way that those guys wanted to start out the night. Galanotto, by the way, even right now is in the dirt. So he is not having a very good night in that red, green, and purple machine. So but anyway, getting back up right now, your TCR battle for the lead continues to be the star of the show, and no surprise, it's Andrew Hardman and Andrew Waring separated right now by 0.3 of a second. Rob Campbell on your screen right now has almost a 2-second advantage over top of Devin Lamke, who himself has about a 7/10 of a second over top of Lopez. So your GT4 field spreading out quite a bit. And TCR's, is that Charles Sumner nosing it into the barrier up there? That's coming down the corkscrew.
Oh, and it's easy to happen in the corkscrew too. If you just get a little bit offline, you're going to catch a little too much curving and find your car bouncing around, because like I said earlier, you're just falling there. That's it. It's just falling, as Rob Campbell pulls the fastest lap of the race so far at a 128.971.
There's your TCR battle right now on your screen. Look at it, Andrew Waring. Andrew Hardman is the one in the lead. After that amazing pass a few minutes ago in the corkscrew, now Waring have to almost kind of play defensive here. Is there going to be any advantage at all to maybe Waring just kind of riding behind Hardman for a little bit, trying to save some fuel?
I think the Andrew and Andrew show needs to kind of solidify here for a little bit. Although Andrew Waring is going to want Ozzy to be right up with him. He could use the help from Ozzy, his teammate, to try to put some pressure onto Andrew Hardman. But look right behind him, it's Tyler Scarali. Tyler has gotten around Nick Horvath and is ready to go back and take it to Ozzy Milwain. However, from 2.7 seconds back, it's going to be hard. Oh, so we got an off right there with that BMW. That looks like we're going up the hill back up into turn 7, and then getting tight there. Dean Giroux, as we drop into the corkscrew, gets still outside. Looks like a nice pass though there from Doherty, trying to get back through the field.
Looks like a lot of guys having problems with turn 6 for tonight. That was Dean Giroux's problem. That was Nick McLaughlin's problem a little while ago. And I think we saw 1 or 2 other cars just kind of go off right there. So that's going to be a problem spot I think we're going to have to watch here for this evening, as Dean Giroux trying to recover after he lost. I believe he was sitting in 5th or 6th before he lost, before he went off track.
Yeah, Dean was pretty far up, but everybody here is really good at doing these recovery drives. He's in 10th place now, down 3 positions from starting, so that puts him about 7. Let's take a look at the lead of the TCR field. Gets up on the inside. It's Andrew versus Andrew. It's just easier to say Andrew here. Nice little tuck in there, getting it on the loud pedal, trying to pull away. But you know what? I think this is just a good plan from Andrew Waring to get Andrew Hardman under attack from Ozzy Milwain.
Yeah, and you might have saw there's a couple of GT4s that were sitting off track there going through turn 2 that I'm pretty sure makes them a little bit worried because they're getting ready to catch the back end of this GT4 field with the pace that they are setting.
Yeah, they're absolutely burning it up out here. I'm hoping they don't burn their tires out, but right now it looks like we've got basically a 3-way run for first place. These 3 are holding on to it.
He's gonna do it again. He's gonna
going back the other way. He's like, you're not gonna push me back into Ozzy. I'm getting up on the inside, and that is a good position for pass. That's where he passed him last time. Gets on that loud pedal around the outside, puts it down into turn 9, the 5 ways in, 10 ways out corner, and takes over the lead. And it looks like Ozzy Milwain is up into P2.
Yeah, Waring decided not to fight his teammate Ozzy Milwain right there, and probably for the better. He actually almost thought about doing an over-under there going through Rainey, but decided against it. And really the star of that last lap and a half has really been Ozzy Milwain. Even with those, despite those 2 fighting, he gained a ton of ground on him just on his own, and now in a position here where, sitting in 2nd place.
Yeah, 2 positions up from where he started, doing a nice job getting that car through the field and really putting a gap between him and the rest of the field. You see back there's the other Britannia iSports car back there. We'll see just in the picture in the background there. There he is. That is Tyler Scarali. He is scrambling to catch up. He had a little something going on with Ozzy Milwain earlier, but has just fallen back, and he is in the clutches of Nick Horvath, who he already, I want to say, repassed. I think he was ahead of him, got past on the first lap, and then has repassed him, but now he's got to catch up to this group up front. And that
contacted the GT4s. I was just getting ready to bring this up, but Peter Oliver Frechette is around in the corkscrew, facing the wrong way. They had a good battle with Dean Giroux, who Dean Giroux is waiting for him to come back up here, but they got to watch out. Here come the TCR leaders right through.
And that's good for
Dean Giroux almost cuts right in front of them here. But I was just getting ready to comment that, that was the lone GT4 battle, was a 3-way battle between those 2 and Nick McLaughlin, who's on his recovery drive, and now that's kind of turned into this.
Yeah, and we've got, so this is interesting. We've got Frechette and Giroux in between our top 3 drivers in the TCR class. Now, that GT4 is going to be able to take him on the straightaways, but beyond that, this is a head-to-head. These cars are going to be just as fast, trying to get his nose up in there into the first part of the Andretti hairpin. Ooh, this is going to get exciting. I hope these guys don't become part of the story. They need to make sure they let these guys race and make their passes clean.
I do want to point out that we are at this point not really neglecting hardly any other battles as Frechette goes around again out there in the background. I think that might end his day. It was pretty hard contact right there. Literally, the main battle on the racetrack is this top 3 battle for the lead in the TCR class. I mean, there's a few other smaller battles, but no one's as close as these 3 guys right here.
Yeah, this is the battle on track right now. There's other stuff going on. The closest thing we're looking at is probably Sean Mulholland up on Peter Newhook. He's trying to make a run as they go down the start-finish straight, but that's nowhere near as close as these 3 we're watching right now. Well, Hardman, Milwain, and Waring are just going at it.
And our director, Zach Johnson, actually has the replay up here of the Frechette Giroux that's kind of precipitated some of this here. Fire that up on the GSRC replay machine. I've got this battle up here on the monitors. We'll break back over to it if something decides it wants to explode down the front straightaway. But going into the corkscrew, Nick McLaughlin making a move, and then Dean just kind of gets in there too hot on Frechette. And Dean does the right thing. Like, he's going to wait here for Frechette to get back up there, try to give him his spot back. But by by the time that happens, here come the TCR leaders, and Dean just doesn't have a chance but to just go. And on, you know, and even then, Frechette, really his day just went from worse here to even worse just a few minutes ago. Back to live action. Right, yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. But now back to live action, and Dean, just hard contact. It hurts. Back to live action as Waring has now retaken the spot from Ozzie Milwane. It has just happened just a minute ago, going through turn 5. Now they come through turn 6 and heading up toward the corkscrew.
Yeah, it's the Andrew and Andrew show back together again. That BMW is bearing down. Dean Giroux is trying to stay out of their race, but he wants to get back in his race too. It's really difficult at this track. There are no long straightaways to let it.
Rob Campbell has just had a connection issue. New leader in your GT4s is Devin Lamke. Devin Lamke, who has only a half second up on Lopez with Newhook behind them. Rob Campbell out with the connection issue.
Oh man, that's got to hurt for Rob. But too many drop packets leads to a dropped race, I guess. But taking a look, it's another pair of Aston Martins out front there. So these two guys, Lamke and Lopez, trying to keep the show going for the Aston Martin teams.
You know, and you mentioned in the pre-race about how you can actually lose or gain a lot of time right there. I just watched Carlos Lopez lose 0.3 of a second just through turn 6 right there.
Yeah, 6, you've got to be super careful. 6, you can gain some time, or you can lose the entire race. And that, I think he was trying to play on the side of caution. He knows he's got some speed over Lamke and a couple of other places, but he's sitting right about 6 to 7 tenths around that range throughout most of the racetrack. He's about 7 tenths off of him right now, and that's where he needs to be. We've got 21 and a half minutes left in this race. There's plenty of time to close up that gap.
Going back to the TCR battle we've been following, Ozzie Milwane has fallen way off the other two by a couple of seconds. As you look at Waring right there showing his nose to Hardman. The BMW of Dean Giroux did get around Ozzie Milwane, and then Ozzie had just a brief small off track. No need to go look at it, but that's why he's fallen off these top two. And it has to go back to what it was about 5 or 6 laps ago. He's going to have to kind of recover that distance, which he has already done once today. He can do again, but that's also allowed Tyler Scarali to be back into the show here in 4th.
Yeah, Tyler Scarali really making a good run up here, doing a 131 last lap, 132, almost a second faster than Ozzie Milwane. Ozzie Milwane being just about 8 tenths slower, so that's allowed Tyler to start to close this up. Now, if Dean Giroux starts to get around, and he may slow down those leaders a little bit as he tries to work his way through and get back into his race. Everybody here is racing, so they're not racing each other necessarily. As we watch Dean try to poke it out here, getting on down into turn 5 as he cuts around that left side, takes that inside away from Andrew Waring and tries to shoot on down. But right here, this is a terrible spot for him to be in. There he goes, gets back over to the right side, tries to make it through turn 6 and power up the field, or power up the hill. But look at the gap that Andrew Hardman is able to pull just from that move from Dean Giroux.
Now we'll see what happens here, whether Hardman's just going to kind of let Giroux go, and then kind of a gentleman's agreement kind of thing, slipping in front of Waring, and they can resume their battle. But just with the speed differential between these two cars, as you were talking about, I mean, he lost a lot of time just by letting go right there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But either way, in this entire TCR season, these are the two guys right here between Waring and Hardman that really have had it figured out. They're the only two that have finished in the top 5 every single race here so far this season, on their way to another top 5 here for tonight if they just hang on here for the next 19 seconds. Meanwhile, back behind these guys, Ozzie Milwane continues to fall off, and we also have a brewing battle back here as well between Horvath and Michael Broomhead. We haven't really talked about these two guys yet here for today. Is now on your screen.
Amaro's in this too. Amaro's the 3rd car in our picture here. He's actually trying to make his way up through there. That's actually, no, he wasn't in the pit. This is a different battle. There we go. There they are. That's the 3 cars. So that's Amaro in that 3rd car. He wants to play here. He's only a half a second off of Broomhead. Broomhead is a half a second off of Horvath. So this is
hold on, we need to go to the lead in the TCRs again. Waring is going to look to the outside. Giroux has gotten around Hartman. And now into the corkscrew. It's going to get a little dicey right here. They do touch just a little bit, I think, with netcode, but they get away scot-free. Battle continues. They're right there. And guess who gets back into the battle now that they had that little side-by-side deal and got slowed up? Ozzy Milwine back inside of 3rd.
Taking advantage of that that slowdown with the traffic. Traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. But don't count out our P4 driver. Look at him back there, just popping into our picture as they go around turn 11, putting the power down. I still think there's something from Tyler Scarali to happen. Let's watch what happens as the pit stop rotation comes up, because Tyler tends to be kind of a magician when it comes to pit stops.
By the way, in your GT4 field, you had him up there on the screen a few minutes ago. Nick McLaughlin has been able to recover his way so far back to 6th. He is looking at 5th, and Nicholas Kolander now, and definitely has the pace to possibly get some more done. But I keep hearing the cars hitting the pit road, so I think we are going to start to see a few more here as we go through the next couple of minutes. Stanton's on there right now. And got to remember, too, that battle in your GT4 lead is now looking to battle back to the TCRs. We can't let these guys go. We can't stop talking about them. As Andrew Waring, once again, getting around Hardman.
Is he going to leave that inside open this time? Looks like he's going to protect it. Because Ozzy puts his nose in. Ozzy wants a piece of this action, but look as Hardman tries to take it coming back down the hill, taking one of those lines through turn 9, trying to go. This is going to be interesting as he comes around here. I think he's going to wait until they come out of 11 to try to do anything and probably take it going back into turn 2.
Not only is this a battle between Hardman, Waring, Ozzy Milwayne, and Scarali, this is also a battle between their teams, the Evolve Sim Sports, the Slava Ukrainia, Britannia iSports. And don't forget that these guys, even though they're 2 separate teams, they actually work together quite a bit from what we've been talking about them with. So this is, I guess 4 guys really at the top of their game that are competing with each other in very similarly set up cars, which in my mind makes this even better. So that's good. It's a fun battle to watch. While we've been talking about it, by the way, Lemke has decided to come down pit road. He's already, I believe, back on track. That gives the lead temporarily to Carlos Lopez in your GT4s.
Yeah, Carlos Lopez taking out the lead there in GT4. He is trying to hold on to that, I guess, for a while. He wants to make sure he can put down some hammer time. But back here, taking a look at this right here. We've got 2 different teams across 4 places, and they've split each other up. Now, let's watch this thing up the field, up the hill. Are we going to see this this change again? Or is he going to protect that inside? Looks like he's going to hold it to the right, get into the braking zone. Not quite close enough. The Andrew and Andrew show still on, but not going to give us a pass through that first turn of the corkscrew this time. Ooh, Newhook's in the lead.
Yeah, that had to have been a temporary thing. I thought I saw him come down pit road. Maybe it was somebody else coming down pit road a minute ago. No, Newhook is in the pits, so he's coming out of pit road right now.
There we go. Yeah, I see Newhook coming out. And that could get kind of crazy for these guys as we watch Newhook coming down, and this trio from the TCR field, they're going to have to blend in here, or actually, to be more correct, the guys coming out of pit lane need to blend in with the cars that are coming around on track. Now, that's getting a little bit dicey back there for our P3 driver, Ozzy Milwayne, in the TCR cars. That gets exciting. Let's see how this works, because we're looking at some faster GT4 cars working their way through the field. This is going to be a little bit more of a disturbance than what we were seeing when Giroux was working through.
You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if they've got somebody watching it. It's like, hey, we're in our pit window. Let's get out of this traffic. Come down pit road now. And really, I just hope that the pit cycle doesn't break up this guys' battle, because it's going to be pretty intense here to the end. I think that is Carlos Lopez on pit road now, coming to his box in his Aston.
Yeah, Carlos coming to a stop. He is in the pits. Let's see what his stationary time is, though. We're looking between 14 and 17 seconds. Looks like he's going to hold it there just past 14.8 seconds stationary time as he puts the power down to head back out onto the track.
Ozzy Milwane is going to be the first of that group to come down pit road. He breaks off, heading toward his pit box. And that is going to free up the Andrew Hardman, Andrew Waring show that we've been watching all day long to kind of proceed. Well, this will give us our first good top runner idea of the TCR coming down pit road.
Yeah, should be a good idea for teammates to be watching. How long is the pit window? What's going to happen? What kind of traffic are you going to come out into? So where do you expect to be? So sometimes you let that back car go ahead and take that dive into the pits and let your teammate tell you what happened, and maybe change up a little bit or wait a little bit until your gaps are a little bit different.
Ozzy Milwane rounding the pit exit through turn 2, coming back onto the track. It looks like he's going to be in clean air to get that done. We'll see if these guys decide they want to come down pit road next, as they're flying to the toward the corkscrew one more time. Hardman, though, seems like he's going to go ahead and relax back there, which might be a sign that he might be considering coming down pit road here at this time. I really think they're getting toward the tail end of their pit window here.
Yeah, I think we're getting close. Although we've got some fuel sippers in this league. There are some people who really do a great job of using the minimal amount of fuel to get the quickest lap time they can possibly get. Now these two, Andrew and Andrew, I think they're going to keep going at it until they are just on fumes, because neither of these guys wants to give up even a millimeter to the other one.
And that car that they just passed on the inside, that was Nick McLaughlin, who even on his recovery drive was temporarily able to take the lead on the pit cycle here. But of course he has given that up now. Back to Carlos Lopez, and that's going to be interesting right there with Lopez now a second and a half over Lamke. So the pit cycle, I think it's safe to say the GT4s, Carlos Lopez going to take the lead there with Lamke now behind him. Going into that pit cycle, Devin was a half second ahead of Carlos Lopez. So great stop there by Carlos, able to get that done.
Yeah, Carlos got in there pretty quick. His stationary time was about a second and a half quicker, and his overall time was about 2 seconds. It was 37.3 to 39.4 for the entire pit lane time. So Carlos doing a great job to run through the pit lane there and hold on to that first position.
So we'll see if that ultimately happens there. Lamke seems like he's better in the front half of the track. Maybe he might be able to gain some ground. So we'll be keeping an eye on that GT4 battle. Another battle that's brewing in GT4s also is Peter Newhook and Sean Mullahan. Can't forget those guys back there. Only about a second separating them. But then you got to start kind of going a little bit further back to be able to, kind of get a little bit more distance between everybody out there as well. So going back to that TCR battle, they're still going out there, and that's Nick McLaughlin that's getting ready to run up there and try to get between these guys. We look at Nick. Of course, Nick on his recovery drive, he's very respectful of this other class too, but he's also still trying to get whatever position he can out of today after that spin on lap 1.
Yeah, rough spin for him, but he's going to be respectful. He knows where his car is faster, although coming in, sticking his nose in here, getting up underneath Andrew Hardman. Is he going to give the same favor to Andrew Waring when they get up to the top of the hill going into the corkscrew?
Oh, if he doesn't run wide right there.
No. Yeah, a little grimace on his face as he returns to track.
Man. And by the way, if you didn't see it, he at least has some sort of motion rig or something, because he was shaking around in there when he was driving through the sand and the dirt and the gravel and everything. But another unfortunate incident there for Nick. This time, though, not as costly as what happened earlier on. And with those two guys, I think Waring has decided it's go ahead and time to head down pit road. Hardman's going to go around another lap.
Yeah, and that's you called it. You absolutely called it. Who's going to have trouble going in there? But is that Scarali closing up behind him? Is that? I think that's Scarali right behind him.
Scarali back there. So unfortunate there for Andrew Waring coming down pit road. I don't think he actually got into the wall, but it was very, very, very close between him and the tires. He's already away from Scarali. And that cost him a lot of time right there. We'll see what happens and how it cycles through, because right now Hardman's going to have Nick McLaughlin to try to contend with here again.
Yeah, Hardman is trying to hold on as Nick McLaughlin takes a look up the inside. But we're back here. This is going to be Ozzy Milwane, I believe. Yeah, he's the one with the white on the side as opposed to the black. Getting, a little bit bouncy going through turn 2. He wants to close up on his teammate here, get back up in there. That's Andrew Waring right in front of him. These guys probably want to get back into the pack and work together. But Andrew Hardman, if I take a look, he is in P6 overall, has not taken his pit stop. I don't know what the gap looks like here, but this could be an opportunity, because Hardman had a 32.2 on his last lap. He may be ready to get in, cool off those tires a little bit, and get the fuel he needs to make it to the end of the race.
Indeed, here he comes down. Andrew Hardman coming in hot. We'll see if he has better luck. It's such a tight left-hander. He's able to get through very cleanly this time. Unlike how Andrew Waring was able to, that's his teammate there behind him. So that's Broomhead, and Broomhead, he himself is having a good day. He's coming in from second. I think he's going to cycle out to about fifth or so once everything is said and done here. All right, so there goes Hardman. Let's see where Waring is.
Looking for Waring now. Waring is just coming down past start-finish, underneath the start-finish bridge. There he is in your picture. This looks like a good stop for Hardman. I think Hardman's got this. That's a heck of a pickup drive.
It's not that close. I was wrong. Yeah, that is Andrew Hardman taking full advantage of Andrew Waring's mistake. Now, they're still within shouting distance of each other. This battle may not be done, but you know, really, I'm actually kind of surprised Waring is still in second. I think Ozzy Milwane is really kind of shocked as well that he wasn't able to get around him in the pit cycle there. But they're still your top three. They're just separated by quite a bit more now.
Yeah, but I expect this to close up a little bit. I'm surprised to see Scarali back there in fifth. I would expect him to be right up in there. He had a really good entry to the pits, as did Andrew Hardman. Andrew Waring, not so great, but hey, let's take a look at this battle. This is getting kind of interesting right here. Watching these two, the number 87 getting in here really hot. That's Peter Newhook. But right behind him, Sean Mulholland, he wants a piece of this. He's like, hey, I can be on the podium too. You just need to get out of my way. I'm going to put the hammer down and show you how it's done.
And just to recap your GT4s here for today, Rob Holland had himself a Rob Campbell had himself a fantastic race going, setting the field on fire, that unfortunately dropped out with connection issues, kind of iRacing's version of a mechanical failure. Things happen. Gave the lead over to Devin Lamke, and then in the pit cycle, Lamke ended up giving up the lead to Carlos Lopez. Carlos Lopez now in the lead of your GT4 class, up over Lamke by about 2 seconds right now. But I've been watching this lead fluctuate quite a bit. I've seen it anywhere between 1.4 seconds and 2.2 seconds, all in the span of just a lap or two. So I don't think this thing's completely written in stone just yet, but Lamke's going to have a good string of laps here in the next minute or two if he's going to want to be able to get up here.
Well, I've talked about how I have raced against Rob Campbell before, and we have gone door to door, mirror to mirror, or nose to tail, whatever, through lap after lap after lap in another series. Carlos Lopez, he and I did the same thing in GT1 cars for a while, and we had some amazing races. I personally credit his success so far today on having bought my old video card.
And Carlos Lopez, he's just one of those good guys too. I mean, we used to race together quite a bit in the old Texas League when we had all those guys, Texas guys together, and you know, so you do the iRacing Sim for Life deal and all that. And, you know, he's branched off doing his own business with the AL Racing Sims. He travels a lot doing the simulators and all that kind of thing now. It's pretty cool stuff on Facebook if you want to look him up. But it's good to see him out there leading here for today. If he just hangs on for a couple more laps, going to come away with the GT4 win today.
And he's opened it up to about 2.5 seconds. Actually, it closes down a little bit coming up the hill. I think he's really trying to take it easy. He puts the hammer down where he knows he can, but Devin Lamke giving him a little false hope, maybe? I'm not sure. But I want to go back and take a look at this New Hook Mulholland race a little bit too, because these guys, they are still, there they are, coming in the back part of your picture right there. New Hook's holding on to the position, but Mulholland, look how close he's getting, right up there. There's a chance for him if, I don't think he got the power down well.
Oh, hey, we got to go back to the TCRs. TCR battle for the lead. Waring has been able to get back on Hardman. He's in fact stuck behind a slower a slower lap TCR. Joe McCauley's going to get out of the way on top of the corkscrew, free these guys up, and he's going to slow up Ozzy Milwain just a touch behind him, but Ozzy Milwain's gotten out of touch. So this battle here for the lead here, TCRs. Waring taking a look outside. He's going to switch it to the inside, trying to get a good position, showing him the bumper just a little bit, looking to the outside now as they go through Andretti, not Andretti, turn 11, and cutting to the inside. You can try to get that run going down the front straightaway. Now it's a drag race as we go through eventually one and eventually to the Andretti hairpin.
Yeah, but he's got the overlap now. He looks like side by side, door to door, mirror to mirror as they go through turn one, getting up into the braking zone. He is compromised though. Andrew Hardman has a better ability to get out of this corner. Is it an over-under? Well, a long over-under, I should say. Not quite. Andrew Waring able to hold on to this, but don't give it up now, because these guys have gone back and forth several times in this race. We got 1:40 left in this. It is not over even close.
Once again, this is the closest battle on the racetrack right now between these two guys, and it has been for most of the day. This is one of those multi-class races where the stars of the show has really been kind of the lower class. As we're walking Carlos Lopez, he's going to be taking the white flag around. He's got one more lap to go, so before he can claim victory. We'll keep an eye on him and where he's at a racetrack. We'll make sure we get him when he comes across the line. This TCR battle, this one can re-explode again, probably for the 5th or 6th time today here any second.
Yeah, these guys are not shy about switching positions, and this last battle, they are going to get the white flag when they come across the start-finish line here. It is going to be on, and I expect to see some amazing hard racing door-to-door, but honestly, with these two, we have watched them go door-to-door session after session, and they are just massively respectful of each other and the space. They give each other racing room. This is like watching the people like IMSA and SRO. This is like watching my people race. These guys are really that good when it comes to racing with each other.
The difference between those two this year, Hardman with 2 wins, Waring with 3, but Hardman has 3 poles and Waring has 2 poles, so there's only 1 point difference between Hardman and Waring going into today. But right now, Waring wanting to take that points lead away. And
it looks like Carlos is coming around here. Here we go for Carlos.
Coming here toward turn 11, going to come down the front straightaway, getting into the lead thanks to a fantastic pit stop in the pit cycle. He is going to claim the GT4 win here at Laguna Seca. Coming back behind the line behind him is going to be Devin Lamke, and then eventually Peter Newhook, as we got on your screen now. Tight little battle here between, I believe that's Colander and Bowden. See what happens with these guys.
Oh, we've got to see that pass. Director, please go catch the pass that just almost happened and then unhappened going into the corkscrew with these two guys. We'll catch that after the race. That was an amazing pass attempt. But let's watch these two as they come across the last part of the track.
Oh, it looks like we're going to be in for another drag race here. Hardman tries to throw it in on the outside. Doesn't get the good run off. They rub fenders just a little bit. Waring's taking it all the way down to the wall. Drag race to the line. Andrew Waring is going to win the Andrew show here in round 7 of your TCRs. Wow.
That was quite a finish.
We knew that one was going to come down to the line.
So Zach Johnson, our director, I hope he can get that replay of the dive into, here we go, this is it. He's a magician, he got it, he knew what I was talking about. Oh no, but I want to catch it going into the corkscrew. This is going into turn 10 right here. This is also a really good pass. We're going to watch this one as well, but here they go, coming out of turn 6, heading up the hill. Watch how close this gets. Andrew Hardman, king of going up the inside, decides to go around the outside, overprotected going into there. Hardman actually in the lead at this point. Waring comes back and says, nope, I'm not letting you have it. I'm taking one of the 10,000 lines going through 10 and gets back into the lead. This was a pass on the last lap that became an unpass as they went into that final corner. Good defense from Waring. Hardman trying to go around the outside, gets the power down, but just doesn't quite have enough to make it. But that was some amazing racing.
These guys continue to put on a show as they have all season long. I'm looking forward to talking with them here in just a minute, but let's go ahead and take a look at those results here. GT4 results up first. Carlos Lopez coming home with the win. As we mentioned, fantastic pit stop, able to get him over top of Devin Lamke. Peter Newhook's going to come home in 3rd. Sean Mullahan in 4th. Mick McLaughlin on his recovery drive. Back up in the 5th. Nicholas Colander in 6th. Don Bowden in 7th. Dean Giroux in 8th. Jeffrey Sabak in 9th. And Pete Thomas in 10th. On the back half of the GT4 field, some of these guys running into some issues as the race went along. Galanotto, Sumner, Frechette, difficulties are well documented, and of course Rob Campbell dominating this race in the early stages, fell out with connection issues. That was the difference. Those TCR results though, man, this has been an exciting class to watch this year.
It indeed has. Now let's take a look at the TCR class where things, wow, that's close. Andrew Waring takes the win over Andrew Hardman by 0.113 seconds. We watched it there. It was back and forth in that last couple of corners. Ozzy Milwane comes in 3rd, 2.8 seconds back, with Michael Broomhead and Tyler Scarali filling out your top 5. Phil Amaro 10 seconds back. Nick Horvath in 7th, James Doherty in 8th, Jean-Sebastien Giroux in 9th, with Brian Hoskins in 10th place. Taking a look at 11th, we have Parker Muirhead with Guillaume Hard in 12th, Joe McCauley 13th, Jeffrey Smith 14th, Jerome Stanton 6 laps back in 15th, and 12 laps back, Pete Bladen in 16th.
All right. Well, we'll give Carlos a few minutes to get in here for his GT4 win interview. But, man, I think the person that we need to talk to here first, the star of the show, Michael, let's have you talk with Andrew Waring.
Andrew, that was another fantastic episode of the Andrew and Andrew show. I got to say, we were on the edge of our seats, and I made our director go back and catch that turn 8 diving into the corkscrew. Did you think you'd lost it when the other half of the Andrew and Andrew show came around the outside of you there?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was just an incredible race. The TCRs are really proving to be a great car to race, and all the guys in that class are proving out to be really fun. And honestly, the GT4 drama sprinkled in there is just another element, but I mean, my heart was pounding there at the end for sure, especially when I smashed the curve and made that big mistake on the last lap. So
yeah, that was quite the defense. So early in the race, Hardman had made several dives up the inside going into turn 8. And the corkscrew is very rarely a place where you find stories of the race happening. I usually find it happening going into turn 2 with big braking or whatever. But that really did become diving up into 8. And you, at the last part of the race, or even from the middle on, started defending heavily on that inside anytime you had the lead. So was that kind of a change in mindset through the race, or did you know that's how he was going to attack and you just knew you had to do it?
first of all, it's a great question. I kind of saw him getting the runs out of that quick left. I'm not sure which number it is, but
That'd be 6, yeah.
I assumed he was running probably third through there, and I was in fourth, because that's like a high-speed corners that really shred the tires on these cars. So I was pretty content running in fourth. I guess I never saw the benefits of the run you get, because, yeah, I mean, some of the times him out of that corner was just, you couldn't stop him. He was flying. So when he did it the second time, you know, it's shame on me. So I said no more, and I mean, and he kept trying around the outside. So he was a incredible race there, the whole race. And we didn't even get any contact other than some neck coat on the last lap. So, and then with Ozzy sprinkled in there as well, there was plenty to think about.
So was there any communication with Ozzy to say, hey, can you get this guy off my tail? I want to go win this race with a little less consternation?
Well, there was supposed to be, but I was actually muted for 3/4 of the race without realizing it. So that's did not happen.
Oops.
And then by the time I realized I was on mute, it was the pit stops, and we were already panicking about where Andrew pulled out this like 2-second gap to us. So it was crazy.
So looking forward to another fantastic episode of the Andrew and Andrew show next week. But who do you have to thank for today's win?
You know, the guys on Evolve there, and Nick and Ozzy, you know, we practice together. Not a whole lot, but when we do, it's really efficient. The boys from Britannia and the other Britannia associated teams, again, like we kind of work together, and they've been really kind to provide setups for us. And honestly, you know, PRL has been a great host. The GT4 drivers do a great job, and then you guys are putting on a great show. And I just can't wait to watch it back here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's the whole race was on you guys, really it was, and with good cause, because you guys really did put on a great race. But with that, I got to send it back to Adam. We're gonna take a look at who he has to talk to.
Yeah, let's have not seen Carlos Lopez jump in our Discord yet, so let's bring in Devin Lampke here, a second place finisher in your GT4s. Give the GT4 guys some love. Devin, you know, it really thought you might have it there after Rob Campbell's connection issue and before the before the pit stop, but then the pit stop happened and Carlos was able to get around you.
Yeah, man, I ran up on some slow traffic, made a late decision to jump into the pits. He was definitely faster than me the whole race, so I was defending everything I could, and he pulled away. But that was definitely a fun race, my first podium on the stream, so thank you guys for all the coverage. It's always awesome. I always watch it right back right after the race, so I enjoy it.
Well, you're going to have a fun one to watch tonight, too. So it was a great race just all the way around. But, you know, you've just been kind of lurking there as well, just outside of the top three sometimes. And, you know, you mentioned it's your first podium. Being a second place at that, being a race that you led, I mean, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I had a bunch of P5s. I think right after that, I qualified maybe third in one of the races, and I was on the podium for a little while. And then I spun, and last race I had a little incident as well. So I'm definitely happy to break through and get on the podium. Feels good.
I understand that. Devin, anybody you'd like to thank here real quick?
You guys, the stream's awesome. Shout out Christian Liziak, my teammate. Nobody else, but yeah, thank you guys.
Well, thanks for stopping by, Devin. We appreciate it. And Michael, you know, you got Waring. Waring just a few minutes ago. How about you talk to Andrew Hardiman as well? You just complete the Andrew and Andrew show there.
Yeah, let's finish out the Andrew and Andrew show. Andrew, you guys, wow. I'm out of breath watching that race. You'll see it when you watch afterwards. But we actually went back and watched that last lap pass attempt going into turn 8. It looked like you had it. I thought you had it. What happened there at the end? Was it somehow the entry into 9? What went on there at the end that gave the race back to the other half of the Andrew and Andrew show?
Well, I think it was just being unprepared for being on that line. I didn't really know how much speed to take in. I think I left some on the table. So certainly that was a factor, but I just had a blast racing with the other half of the Andrew and Andrew party. It was a really, really good time. I think I didn't preserve my tires nearly as well as he did, so he was able to just drive right up to me and pass me. But I was able to sort of be ready to pounce if he made a mistake, which he did on the last lap, but he was still able to keep me behind. But yeah, all kudos to him. He drove amazing. He kept his tires in the right window, and I just killed mine. So lots to learn for next time.
So turn 6, we heard some guesses, but were you going through turn 6 to head up the hill in 3rd gear or 4th gear?
You know what? I wish I could say I did it in one or the other, but it was kind of just a feel thing based on how I entered. I never really felt comfortable in that corner with this particular car. I'm still getting used to driving Laguna with a non-downforce car, and that corner in particular was very difficult for me. So it was kind of just a seat of the pants type of deal.
So some brilliant runs up the hill out of 6. If you're saying you can do it even better than you did, I want to see that personally, because some of those runs, you made 2 brilliant passes on him going into the corkscrew where he got up the inside, and then he started defending it. And it looked like you started playing with some chances around the outside. How did those chances evolve for you? Were you thinking that you really did have a good opportunity to get around there on that last lap?
Yeah, so I hadn't really tried anything around the outside entering the corkscrew. So that's sort of where I was a bit of guesswork, and I was honestly surprised I got as far alongside him as I did. That was just a bit of a send, honestly. I knew my tires were dead, so I had to really just pounce on it.
So we need to jump over to our other race with the LMPs and the GT3s. But first, I want to know, who do you have to thank for today's P2?
Oh, of course, my team, Britannia iSports. We work really well together. We practice all the time together. We do some officials. We do some team practices. I love racing with those guys and just chatting about stuff. Team Evolve, they put up a really good fight. Andrew Waring especially, and Ozzy did a really good job today. You guys for putting on a great show, organizers of PRL, and my family. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That was one half of the Andrew and Andrew show that they are going to watch this race back and wonder if they can figure out a way to get even more airtime out of this. But Adam, I think we need to head off to check out our other race.
Yeah, we've got the LMP2s and GT3s coming up next. Always exciting. We'll be right back here on GSRC.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Welcome back to GSRC and round 2 coverage of the PRL Multiclass Series night. Well, we didn't have to go very far tonight, as we're right back at Laguna Seca for the LMP2s and GT3s. If you happen to miss the first race, let's go ahead and talk about Laguna Seca again real quick with our track guide.
Welcome to Laguna Seca. Located just east of Monterey, California, it's hard to deny that this is one of the more scenic American road courses. It travels up and down a hillside which not only offers spectacular views, but one of racing's most iconic corners. Clocking in at 2.25 miles in length, 11 turns split up the current configuration. I say current because up until 1988, the track's layout was shockingly simple with a mere 9 dangerously fast corners. But despite becoming a much more technical track, this difficult nature was retained in its modern form. Turn 6 in particular places an emphasis on precision and daring with its tricky dip at the apex and narrow racing line. But the most well-known spot on the track is of course the corkscrew. Blind and kinked on entry, it then whips the driver through a chicane which drops you nearly 60 feet. It's earned a reputation worldwide for forcing even the most daring competitors to second-guess themselves. But there's honestly a refreshingly wide variety in types of corners, making it a perfect track for driver coaching and training. Elevation changes, differing cambers, and every sort of apex imaginable leaves seasoned veterans and newcomers alike spending hours trying to perfect a lap. With the track becoming popular for hosting IMSA, IndyCar, and MotoGP in its recent history, it also brings out lots of vintage racers due to the Monterey Historics each year. Likely to remain a fixture on the American racing scene, this legendary circuit is almost always high on drivers' best of lists. Its history and its uniqueness are sure to delight all for years to come.
And of course, Michael gave a great rundown of his thoughts of this 11-turn, 2.238-mile facility earlier on before the GT4 TCR race. Go back, check that out. Come back here if you're not watching it live. So let's go ahead and jump into the point standings here for this 45-minute race tonight. Graham Sanders on top of the point standings for the LMP2 class, and of course, he's on top of the speed charts right now for qualifying. 16 points back is David Holland. Carl Modoff, Christian Eisler tied 27 points back, and Horatio Cal Quinn in 5th place there. We go over to the team standings, and Delta Sport in P1 there with 2 wins here so far this year. Punto CL Racing Black and Blue are making up 2nd and 3rd, followed by Alpine Stars, Geodesic, and Pure Sims Esports. Now, this GT3 standings, Michael, a little bit more exciting.
Well, GT3 is a little bit closer. Vincent Trepanier sitting on top with 168 points. Carlos Villa and Mr. Shuey, Teddy Lowendick, 6 points back from there. We have a tie for P2. Jumping back to P4 is going to be J.R. Williams, who last time I looked, he was actually at the top of the charts today. Alexander Breton in 5th place, 43 points back off the lead. Looking at those team standings, we've got ASR Esports Purple with 337 points, and then the Cyan team 50 points back. Just 8 points back from them, though, is SRTE Blue in 3rd place. 4th is Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing GT3 at 149 points off the lead, with Vector by RSR 175 points back in P5.
All right, so race details. It's round 7 of 10 and we've seen some exciting races in these two classes. And just about anything that you can't think of that has happened, can happen in racing, has happened in one of these races here so far this season. It's a 45-minute race. This is open setup. A drive-through penalty at 13 incidents, disqualification at 17. We had a few guys in the GT4 TCR race right before this have that happen. And of course, you do get a bonus point for fast lap, pole, and 3 incidents or less. So let's go ahead and take a look now at the starting lineup. And Michael, this is going to be an exciting one again here for today. Starting on pole, Graham Sanders, David Holland right on the outside of him. So there's 1-2 in the point standings. Paulo Munoz and Ignacio Rodriguez in row 2. Row 3 is going to go Carl Modoff, Horatio Cal Quinn. Row 4, Felipe Riquelme and Christian Eisler making up row 4. Row 5's Francisco Montini and Rodrigo Mies. Got a few more guys. Ciense Leighton will be in 11th. Nicholas Bernard in 12th. Row 7's going to David Menino. Matt Hilton in row 8's Vincent Trepanier. And actually, I think we're starting to run into the GT3s here, Michael.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Vincent is P15 overall, but first in the GT3s, followed by Arnaud Genet. J.R. Williams is right behind him with Teddy Lowendick being P4. Carlos Villa P5. Jean-Marc Tremblay 6th. Sebastian Marier 7th. Looking at Tony Costello, Jérôme Bartiome in 9th. P10 is Tommy Brisson. David Van Roy is 11th with Marc-Andre Desjardins in P12. And then it looks like Lance Loomis may not have set a time, but he's at the back of the field.
Yeah, back of the LMP2 field there as everybody's beginning to form up here on the front straightaway. It is a full pace lap, so we will have a few minutes here before we go fully to green. These cars will probably leaving a little bit more room than what the earlier classes did, just with the speed differential. We talked about only a 1.5 seconds difference between your GT4s and your TCRs earlier on. Here, with these cars, we're talking almost 9 seconds difference in lap times between your LMP2s and your GT3s.
Yeah, and that's what we saw at the last track as well, when they were just up the road in Sonoma. You typically do see about 9 seconds between these. Now, if you just want to know how long 9 seconds is over a lap, that is an incredibly long time on a racetrack. 9 seconds is how long you spend, let's say, going down the straightaway at the front straight at Circuit of the Americas, or maybe even the start-finish line to turn 2 here is not even 9 seconds. You're flying through there. So think about that much of a gap, 9 seconds. It's a huge gap. That's how much speed difference we have here, and that is going to be something these drivers have to contend with. We saw just the opposite with the previous race, where the cars were so close together and there was some actual interclass racing going on where, hey, I've got to race too, you need to let me race, I got to catch back up, and they do, and you have to leave that gap. But with these cars, with these LMP2s, you just match the gas and go. They have so much downforce, and they just pull away from these GT3 cars. If you've never been in a GT3 car and had one take off at full throttle, it'll probably scare you. Now think about something that's 9 seconds faster a lap than that is. It's wow.
Yeah, they're fun cars to drive, these LMP2s. I mean, we're getting ready for the Majors 24-hour race here in a couple of weeks, and so getting a lot of seat time in these things, it's always a blast. I always look forward to every opportunity to do it, and so watching a lot of weaving around, getting the tires clean, getting a little bit of heat in them. You don't get too much heat. It's mostly cleaning action here in the sim, but starting to form up. There's going to be a pretty large gap going back to the GT3s, I imagine, as Graham Sanders is going to round turn 11, heading down the front straightaway, waiting for the green flag to come out, and he is away. Green flag racing here at Laguna Seca, and already some dicing around going on behind him.
Yeah, these guys are trying to make their early race moves, something that'll be safe enough, as we watch Sanders trying to hold onto that lead with Holland still half a second back, but Holland's got Munoz right on his tail, with Rodriguez also trying to make his way up through this field. But let's go take a look. Oh, we got a spinner!
And got cars up and over. They're going to have to watch out because these GT3s are going to be on them very quickly. That's Felipe Riquelme. Contact with Carl Modoff.
Looks like Mies was in there too. I think Rodrigo Mies got caught up in that. Modoff got caught up. Felipe Riquelme got caught up in that. Ooh, that was a really tough crash right there. But let's take a look here at our GT3 field. Despite having a beautiful launch at the beginning, taking a big jump, Vincent Trepanier is now under 2/10. Genet is right up behind him, trying to push him up the hill as we watch them get up in here with J.R. Williams following right behind. Teddy Lowendick, a second back off the lead, trying to hold on to this gang and doing a really good job. There may be a shoey tonight. I think I'm going to call we're getting a shoey.
Well, we can certainly hope. And Vincent Trepanier, he loves to see this, as things stand right now, with him in the points lead, but only by 6 points. And he loves, I'm sure, seeing Carlos Villa that far back from him as well. Carlos currently sitting in 5th in class, but may not be for long. Arnaud Jeunesse is taking a look here on the inside, going into 2.
Yeah, nice little, looks like a teammate pass. No big defense there, but Vincent has to get back over quickly. J.R. Williams was running at the top of the chart, top of the GT3 field for a while during practice, and even in qualifying, he was at the top of the charts for a little bit. So that man's got some speed there. Trepanier needs to watch out that Williams doesn't try to overtake him earlier than he's expecting. With Teddy Lowendick back there in that Audi, the lone Audi in the field, taking a little look out the outside there.
And I think we have an opportunity here to go ahead and go back and take a look at that lap 1 incident in the LMP2s, and a couple of hard hits for a few of these guys, including Christian Eisler. I mean, almost going over. Riquelme almost going over.
Yeah, that was 4 cars. Massively surprised. So watch it again as they come through here. It looks like the tail end just got around a little bit. Oh, no. I think that was some help. That looked like there was a little bit of help there. It's that lap 1 jitter. You can't get too close. They were trying to make those early moves, but I think that was a little bit too much speed going through that corner, or not quite enough for the lead car. It's really hard to say without looking at some data.
Yeah, and of course, Modoff and Eisler were 3rd and 4th going into today in the point standing, so it's going to hurt them. Look at that speed differential, though, as Modoff's having to make his way through that GT3 field. He's passing some of these guys like they're not even moving. As Tony Castello, that's the loose car that you see in front there, that Ferrari trying its best to go around. And Jean-Marc Tremblay going around here as well, so some action now in the GT3 class.
Yeah, GT3's harder to hold on to, don't have quite as much downforce. There is a lot, but if you want to understand how the speed difference is, just like we were talking, that 9-second difference, that's a lot more downforce. These guys run similar amounts of power as Graham Sanders in the 100 car turns a 111.6 fastest lap of the race so far, but it's early. Watch these guys start to burn down some fuel. You're going to see Horatio Calquin, maybe David Holland start to push that into the 110s pretty easy.
As Modoff continues to make his way through the GT3 class and GT3 leaders here, he's doing so very patiently. Obviously, he's already had one problem today, doesn't want to spark another, so Modoff is a very intelligent racer. He knows what he's doing, but just...
As he makes a pass, getting up in there.
Just speed differential. I mean, that was 4 GT3 cars just on the front straightaway alone, and White's one more corner, he's going to get the lead, and he's going to be off for sailing here. But we haven't talked much about the LMP2 since that incident happened. Right now, Calquin and Montini, I think 3rd and 4th is probably your closest battle here. As those two guys round turn 11. Graham Sanders still in the lead. David Holland 1.8 seconds behind him as Graham Sanders goes purple one more time. A few guys in the back of the pack here as well with some close battles going on. Not as close as the GT3 field, but still pretty intense racing.
Really intense. Nice late move up to the inside. Going to make this a double apex as he tries to get around here. Puts the power down, comes around, and makes a beautiful pass through turn 2. That was very well done.
I was watching Bernard, Menino, Munoz, and Loomis. That's your 4 cars that's on your screen right now. And starting to see some lights. Seeing it's a little bit darker than it was in the GT4 TCR race. That was more in the middle of the afternoon. Once again, this is more in the morning. It's 8:20 in the morning virtual sim time right now, and you're starting to see some of the action. I think probably because that track temperature is still pretty cool at this point.
Yeah, track temperature is down there, 66 degrees Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. That's almost too cold. In the sim, it still works out. In real life, that's getting on the edge of where the tires really like it. But here's what the motor's like. That air temperature at 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius. That's where the motors are very, very happy, making a little bit of extra power. But you know what? It doesn't help you if your opponent's car is getting that same little boost from that cold air. You like to think you got a boost, and then, well, they got it too. So you do what you can.
Continue to watch the GT3 leaders here as, almost having to slam the door shut there almost on his teammate there was Janae and Trepanier. But everybody able to get through the corkscrew okay. So right there on your screen, you can see the top 5. That's Janae, Trepanier, Laudick, Williams, and Villa, excuse me.
And looks like, Williams may have spun. Marie is up into 5th position, about 1.3 seconds off of Vila now. That looks like an unhappy car. I wonder if he made contact with the wall.
Looks like coming in turn 10, he caught the curb weird. Ran wide just a little bit, caught the curb weird, just went sliding gently through the dirt, was able to get back in line. And looking at the 4 car.
That's going to be Matt Hilton.
Yeah, so Matt Hilton's day, not exactly where he wants to be, but he's back going straight here.
Now, fortunately, with these LMP2 cars, in real life and in the sim, they can take quite a beating. They are designed to handle some pretty serious hits. I've seen cars in real life just mash into a wall and then drive away, and nothing was wrong with them. But this is a good race we're watching right here. These two going at it hammer and tongs, but pulling out the lead there, holding on to it. Yeah, that was some good racing. That was thoughtful racing between the two. We've got 37 minutes left in this race. That's Paulo Munoz and Dave Menino. Munoz being able to take out the lead there. Menino happy to sit behind him and kind of ride his coattails up into the first half of the race.
As they continue to fight there, and now we're getting up to some of the leaders in LMP2 starting to mix up here in GT3, as Munoz almost has an incident there with Desjardins coming in looked like through turn 11, but we're actually on the front straightaway right now. And that green car is Tommy Brisson in his Mercedes, and they're coming up here now on Tony Costello and J.R. Williams. Of course, we heard talk about J.R. Williams in his spin just a few minutes ago. Well, here comes Calquin around him.
Yeah, Horatio Calquin in the 666 car trying to hold on to this position. He's currently in P3. Got a good podium position, 5 seconds to Dave Holland in front of him, and a little over a second to Ignacio Rodriguez behind him. He wants to hold on to this spot. He does not want traffic to mess with him too much. So he has a little bit of cushion, but right now he needs to put his nose to the grindstone and open up this gap to Rodriguez behind him if he can. I don't know that Holland and Sanders are going to be able to give him an opportunity to catch up there. Those guys are just crazy fast.
A lot of fast guys out there for today. And what we're seeing, of course, with in the LMP2 classes, even as they're working their way through traffic, as I say, getting ready to say that Sanders Holland was able to keep touch with Sanders. They opened up an error 0.3 of a second. So traffic, as you were talking about earlier, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away.
Yes, it does. As we look on right now, looking into this little grouping, that's Teddy Lowendick in P3. He was able to get around the traffic, but he's about 1.2 seconds off as we watch him with his Star Wars shirt, taking a glance. He must be listening. He took a glance right up at us, taking a look off the back of his car. Behind him, Carlos Villa, good bit back there. That's about 1.3 seconds now. Now in front of Teddy, he's got right at a second. If he had DRS, he'd be in and out of DRS. As we watch, ooh, that's going to be Cal Quinn coming up the inside, I believe, trying to get through there. Nice heads-up driving from Teddy.
Yeah, and he's interrupting the battle here between Ignacio Rodriguez and Cal Quinn, as Rodriguez wasn't able to clear before they went in the horseshoe. And now Cal Quinn has his hands full. Vincent Trepanier almost making contact up there.
Ooh, so this is going to be interesting with this much of a speed differential. You've got two completely different races going on. I've been at Daytona, I've been at Watkins Glen, I've been at all these big races, driving, seeing the speed differential. You just, it doesn't compute when you first get out there. And that's why you have to do a lot of practice. That's why they force us to do night practices. You can't see these tiny little LMP2 cars if you're in one of these GT3 cars, especially with the elevation change and such. As we watch, ooh, Teddy's trying to make a move here. Teddy is trying to make a move, but Carlos Villa has caught back up to him, only 0.3 off the tail of Teddy. It looks like this is another story of the traffic coming through, taking its toll on stuff. So, wow, we have got quite the race going on here with second, third, and fourth.
Trying to see who the slow car that we saw a minute ago was, but this battle right now kind of taking precedence as Arnaud is just loving this in his rearview mirror right now, as Trepanier, Lowendick, and Villa continue to have problems navigating some of this LMP2 traffic that's just running through them. And now Trepanier finally has that LMP2 of David Menino between him and Ted, and that's going to help break him up just a little bit.
And Graham Sanders inching closer and closer to that 1:10 lap time. I think he's going to get it before the end of the race, but he's going to need to be a little bit lighter on fuel as we watch this race going on here. Now, that's a really difficult position for that LMP2 car to be in. Teddy, being the driver he is, sees what's going on, lets them through, doesn't make that cut to the inside. But now, oh, this is going to be good for Lowendick. He has an opportunity now to close up just a little bit on Trepanier because of this traffic coming through. Teddy played the traffic to his advantage, and now he is getting closer and closer to Trepanier.
All right, now that that's starting to calm down just a little bit, we go back and take a look at what happened to Nicholas Bernard here just a few minutes ago. This was coming into the corkscrew, and, difference of braking between different cars, and Bernard's going to get tagged in the back by GT3, loops it around, catches the GT3 once again on the other side, but everybody's able to pull away with minimal damage.
Yeah, a little bit of a return of favor, but also take a look here. We got coming around just a little bit, probably too much bar on the rear of the car there. Let the rear end come around going through turn 2. So this is what we were watching early on, and that was that was Bartolomeo. Okay, or Bartiom.
Well, meanwhile, back up front, we haven't talked about him in a while. We should talk about it a little bit. Graham Sanders continues to just run away with this thing. Now up almost 2.5 seconds on top of David Holland, and just continues to set the pace here for today in that gold and black LMP2 vehicle heading up to the corkscrew. Graham Sanders has really been the class of the field most of the season.
Indeed he has. The 100 car just putting down consistent laps race after race. One of the things I coach people on is the 3 Ps. And the first 2 are patience, which sounds really weird for a race car, but trust me, it makes a difference, because when you get patience, you get precision, and that's the second P. And putting those together allows you to get to the third P, which is pester the ever-living, whatever word you'd like to insert here, out of the guy in front or behind you. So that patience turns into such a good lap time. And as we watch how precisely he just hits every apex, he comes all the way out right to the edge. Beautiful driving there. I mean, this is absolute perfect driving. I love seeing people drive that precisely, as Graham Sanders pumping it up to over 150 miles an hour, getting around to that corner. Oh, and uncharacteristically going just a tiny bit wide as we watch him going into turn 6 here. Got his bearings back and powers it up the hill.
I'm sure he didn't even blink an eye at that. But, you know, that's the thing with Graham Sanders. He's always running up in front of these races, but he doesn't have a single win here so far this season. He's ran up front a ton, has 5 top 5s, but with how much chaos has been sowed in this series, even without a win, he's on top of the point standings here for today, pulling an old Terry Labonte in NASCAR Cup action, if you remember back in the mid-90s. Right now, though, really eyeing that first win of the season so far in almost 3.3 seconds over top of David Holland, and 30 minutes to go in this one. He's looking pretty good.
He is looking very good with that lead, but you know, Holland has done this to us before. We've seen the gap get pretty wide open, but a brilliant run through the pit stop sequence. Suddenly, we got a race on again. So I think Holland can get back up there. Cal Quinn, a good bit back there in third place, 12.5 seconds back. Not certain that's going to be able to be picked up in the pit stop rotation, but hey, stranger things have happened. We saw the last race where our overall leader and our points leader for the series had a disco. His internet connection dropped, or something happened that caused him to drop. So that's like you were saying, that's a mechanical, that's a cut tire, that's a engine blowing. That's the kind of thing we see here in sim racing, is more on how well that internet connection or the cooling on your computer works, as opposed to the cooling on your engine.
Well, going back to your GT3s, you know, the likes of Vincent Trepanier, Ted Lawendick, they've caught back up to Arnaud Genet. And Arnaud has this mirror full of his teammate right now, but still worried about that LMP2 traffic as Matt Hilton getting ready to come through these guys here.
Hilton running through as they get up through turn, so I want to say 6 there, heading up the hill. Yes, turn 6. This is kind of where Teddy has been fortunate in this race. He has been able to work the traffic. Oh! As Hilton goes wide, now trying to hold on to it, not lose the overall position. That's going to allow Trepanier to get even a little bit closer to Genet. Looks like he wants to push him through turn 10 there as we watch these cars come up. This is going to be not just a trio, but look at Vila. Vila is sitting back there ready to pounce. He's got the legs on that AMG. He wants to get to be part of this race.
Riding with Teddy now. Sitting there in his rig room.
But
always
no food
famous
today.
rig room. Yeah, no food. What gives, Teddy? We'll have to do something about that for him. But yeah, he's just looking for a window at this point. I mean, you know, and he's close enough that anything could happen in the pit cycle.
Teddy's looking very calm, and I think one of the big advantages he has here. Now, in real life, the underpinnings of the Audi and the 2 cars you see in front of him, that Lamborghini, are almost identical. There may be some fastener differences, but the body, the shell of the car is different. So watching these cars run, you should expect this. But interestingly, iRacing kind of has a thing where the Audi seems to be a little bit better on fuel, and maybe that's an aero advantage that it has. So through this pit stop rotation, where Teddy sits right now, if he can get an amazing pit stop, he could probably get himself in between these two and get a little bit of a battle started, and that way the teammates can't work together. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens as the pit stop rotation comes in.
Yeah, and don't forget, you got Carlos Vila back there, you know, who is second in the standings. He's just lurking right there you know, ready for something to happen, ready to maybe get himself back up in there. They can't separate themselves from fourth place Carlos Villa. So still, I would technically say a 4-car battle for the lead. As looking at the LMP2 here, did not see who that was. It's camera Francisco Montini. Montini was having himself an okay race. He was in 5th, but he's going to fall down the point standings now after going off track.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Montini. But if we take a look back, we've got an interesting race starting to develop between, or continuing to develop, I should say, between Cal Quinn and Rodriguez. They are really close. That's for P3 of the overall race and P3 of the LMP2s. These two are really going at it hammer and tongs. Now, I'm pretty sure they are teammates, and they are taking remarkably similar lines. And this is one of those teams, I remember talking to these guys before, at least to Horatio. Sometimes they don't run the same setup. Sometimes they have dramatically different setups, as we watch them take a very wide line trying to get around the get around the GT3 car there as they go through the corkscrew.
And we've seen a lot of different lines and a lot of different classes here for today as well. And I mean, you keep talking about how that corner, you can just take so many lines for it. It's been a great example. As you see some of the great camera work there by Dougie Beard. Great to have him on a broadcast like GSRC. Another thing you won't find really anywhere else on the service is the camera work of Dougie Beard. Looking at pit cycle, at least some early taker here.
That's Menino.
So Menino has decided he's going to go ahead and come down pit road. Trying to see if they proceeded that. He was in a kind of a tight battle. Montini had slipped in behind him. So maybe he just figured, well, maybe it might be a good time to go ahead and make that trip down.
It looks like Trepanier is having a little bit of trouble. I wonder if he's started to cook his tires a bit. We had a little side-by-side action there with Lowendick, which is allowing Genet to pull away. So you've got Genet about 3/4 of a second up. But with Trepanier and Lowendick, they are really tight at about 0.3 of a second. This is starting to turn into a battle. I think Teddy is tired of sitting back there, and he wants to make the move and get up into P2.
Carlos Villa, you saw him break away. So first leader in GT3 is going to go ahead and come down pit road here. Maybe thinking might be able to jump those guys when they come back down pit road here in a few minutes. But pit cycle is now beginning. I think that's a sign of things to come here. Is wow, look at Trepanier really kind of dive her in there deep through turn 2. And allowed Lowendick to really get up underneath his rear wing, as now they got more LMP2 traffic. That's getting ready to be Horatio Coquin and Ignacio Rodriguez. But we were talking about just a few minutes ago, these guys are really driving hard. Looking at Lowendick all over that rear bumper of that Ferrari.
Yeah, he's trying to get up in there, but you know, I think Vila had the right point. He sees these guys battling, and he saw these LMP2 cars coming through behind him. He made a smart call to dive into the pits right there. His stop time in the pits, 12.6 seconds, 34.9 from cone to cone. So let's see what happens as this rolls around.
And did I just see, who is that just went off? I had to look down for a second to look at Trepanier. Okay, so Trepanier did go off right there. I was worried it was one of those two guys, and trying to see if there's any contact. He just went wide. Yeah, just went wide in 6 and went through a trip through the dirt. Lost a little bit of time. He's not out of touch of Teddy, but it is something he's got to watch out for. Now we got another car stopped coming through turn 6.
That's a bad place to stop too. If you get caught up on the inside there, the cars want to come back over, and that's Jean-Marc Tremblay trying to get his Lamborghini running back through the field. Let's see if he can work his way back up. Right now, Tremblay is all the way back in 9th place in class, so that didn't help him. That puts him behind Carlos Villa, even about 10 seconds back off of him. It looks like he's going to make his dive down into the pits.
Probably a wise choice there. What I was getting ready to say about Carlos Villa is Carlos also came out in, it's clear behind him. It's clear in front of him. He may have come out in probably the most empty part of this racetrack right now. And that's only going to help him to be able to run some clean laps and not have to worry about slower GT3s or faster LMP2s at this point.
Yeah, very smart move from Vila. He timed his dive into the pits very well, but right now he does have an LMP2 coming up on him, but he is kind of in control at this point. He can time when he wants that LMP2 to come around. Sits around turn 6, puts the power down, able to take the corner all the way out the way he wanted to, and now running up the hill, he's able to tuck in and get a little bit of speed out of the LMP2, making a big hole in the air for him.
You know, we used to, old soup's on. I was actually talking about soup earlier today. We used to always call that the early peel, late reveal. Peel it off to pit road early, see what you come up with at the end of the day. Is watching some aggressive moves here. Another, I'm trying to see who that is. Okay, Desjardins having some more issues. He's had a few issues here for today. This time around going off and making contact a little bit with the wall, I believe. So we'll see how it happens with him. Graham Sanders, though, continuing to just get faster. 1 minute and 11.123 seconds now. Just screaming around Laguna Seca.
So close to that 1 minute 10 mark. He had a 1 minute 10.4, I believe, in qualifying. Yeah, 110.475. He's getting dangerously close to that 110. I think he's going to get it before the end of the race, although we are getting into a point where these guys are going to start needing to stop for fuel, but they're going to get light at the very end of the race. As long as he's got tires, I think he's going to hit that 110.
Meanwhile, back up front of the GT3s, well, there's Graham Sanders heading to through the corkscrew. Arnaud Genet is starting to see Teddy get a little bit closer to his rearview mirror. There's still over a second between them, but I think Teddy's starting to gain just a little bit here as he's been able to catch the LMP2 traffic in a little bit more favorable location.
I think something happened with Genet. Genet's fastest lap is a 120.179. Last lap, 122.125. Teddy Lowendick, last lap, 120.202. That was his fastest lap of the race so far. Teddy's trying to close this up. Teddy wants a piece of this. I think Teddy wants to do the Stewie this week.
Yeah, it was all traffic, by the way, getting slowing up Arnaud. So that's what as we're looking at David Holland coming down pit road now, right there at the end of the pit road, just across the start-finish line. It shouldn't be a very long fueling stop there for that LMP2. They're not going to take tires on a day like today. But, man, Teddy's just right there.
Teddy's closed this up. He is at right about half a second. Watches it go into the braking zone here. Super tight, trying to get around. He is in the hole right now. He can make that big hole in the air work for him as he heads down. He can even save a little bit of fuel. He's having a good time making Genet push and push and push and use more fuel, while Teddy sits right behind him with less air resistance, able to use less fuel. So this is going to come around once again to how well these guys do the pit stops.
And I have a feeling we'll be seeing that here before too long as we get ever closer to the 15-minute mark and more LMP2 traffic. That is David Holland's trying to cut through these guys now after his pit stop. This time Arnaud's able to catch him a little bit more of a favorable spot on the straightaway. Didn't have to worry about giving room to him on a corner. Another guy that I'm starting to see kind of catch up a little bit to these guys here too is Vincent Trepanier after his trip through the dirt. I think he's gained about a half second in the last couple of laps in these guys. So obviously we can't count him out here just yet, nor would we. But man, Teddy really just has that Audi on rails here the last few minutes.
Yeah, he absolutely does. But
there we go.
Called it.
Pit road.
Pit road. There we go. And Trepanier, fastest lap of the race so far for the GT3 class with the 119.8. He's really cooking it. That's about 4/10 faster than Teddy was able to do on his previous lap as Teddy heads into the pits to make his stop. Probably a smart move from him. Get him back out into a good spot. But let's take a look at this. Trepanier wanting to close this up on his teammate. Got a LMP2 car between him, but I don't think it's going to help him or hurt him, honestly. This looks like it's going to be a pretty clean rotation through this lap with the lap traffic.
Yeah, this is one of those cases with Trepanier. He's definitely seeing red after his mistake, but he's using it to his advantage and really pushing that car. And so far, pushing it within its limits and doing it very, very effectively. Let's go ahead and go back, see where Teddy is going to come out.
Teddy and Vila. We got Lowendick and oh, this is going to be tight. We got two LMP2s going around the outside. Teddy able to hold on to it, blocking off one of those LMP2 cars. Another one cutting up. Oh, up underneath.
That is third,
turn
by the
4.
way. That is Horacio Calquin and Paulo Munoz for second and third in your LMP2s as they're still working on their pit cycle. And Paulo Munoz just about crossed it up, trying to stay out of Teddy. And now Teddy and Carlos side by side. Carlos is going to let him have that corner as another LMP2. This time, this is Ciense Leighton is going to be coming by. And going through the corkscrew, Teddy's going to shut the door on Carlos once again. But man, we knew Carlos might be there on the early P8 reveal, and here he is.
Yeah, Carlos made a brilliant strategy call there. Puts him up into a good position as we watch our leaders, that's Trepanier and Janae, sitting there in the pits getting their fuel stop done. How is this going to work out? Right now, we've got J.R.
Oh, they're coming out really close together. Look at that. Almost no difference between the two on pit road. Here comes Teddy and Carlos coming down the front straightaway. They're going to, this is going to be so close on the exit of 2 here. I think the cars on track have a little bit of advantage. It's a little bit tighter corner for those other guys. Move Teddy up into P1. He's going to come out in the lead, but not by much. Carlos into third.
Wow. Teddy takes the lead, Carlos takes third, and it looks like Trepanier in second. Wow. This is...
You were saying at the end of the pit cycle, you were hoping Carlos was going to... You were thinking he might come out in between Arnaud and Vincent Trepanier. And you were right. You just didn't get the Teddy part moving up into P1 on that.
I got to say, I apologize, Teddy. I think I underestimated you for that one. I did not see that part. I saw Carlos coming in there. But Teddy, wow, brilliant job pulling out first place after that pit rotation.
Whew, that got a little hot and heavy there with the LMP2 traffic, and we're not done yet. These are your leaders in your GT3 class as the LMP2s are coming through right now. That's Bernard, who has had his own issues here for today. Teddy's just going to let him go, let him have that corner. David Holland behind them. These have not cycled through. David Holland will probably cycle back into second place, so that is probably your actual second place runner right there, waiting on the pit cycle, the LMP2 to happen. Pit cycle has happened for the most part here in GT3. It's Teddy now up into P1 the race on the pit cycles. Carlos Villa is going to make a look inside Arnaud, and they make a little bit of contact. Vincent Trepanier is going to try to take advantage of it. Slot Arnaud Genet back into 4th position.
There we go.
Carlos is going to give it back, though. Carlos, very, very gentlemanly. And we've seen a lot of that in this series where, I didn't mean to do that, man. Have the spot back. Let's go after it for real here in a minute.
Yeah, I saw him brake pretty late, and I thought he made it. I didn't hear or see any contact, but I think there probably was. Fortunately, it didn't damage either car. Those guys are able to go back racing. But you know what that's done? That's given Trepanier a gap of 2 seconds up to Teddy. Is Teddy Lowendick going to be able to hold on to that? We got a lot of time left in this race. We got 12 and a half minutes to go, but those are teammates, Trepanier and Genet. They are ready to work together to get back up there towards the front. But look how close Carlos is. Wow, we've got Carlos Villa in that leggy AMG, ready to put the power down as they head up to turn 11 here. Coming off 11, I think, is where we're going to see it. Is he going to try to make that ballsy move again? I think he's got it ready and queued up, ready to make it, but without contact this time.
And by the way, Graham Sanders has made his pit stop, your leader LP2. And that moves Horacio Calquin and Ignacio Rodriguez into P1 and P2, at least momentarily. But as expected, Sanders has come out well ahead of David Holland. We'll see how everything else shakes out here over the course of the next couple of minutes, because you still have this battle here between Ignacio and Paulo, which right now is for third and fourth, or second and third on the racetrack.
Yeah, Paulo Munoz trying to close this up, only about 3/10 off the tail. That is no time at all. That's a little bit of a, that could be the difference in the pit stall. Let's see how much fuel these guys decide to take on, how quickly they're able to go from cone to cone. We've seen people kind of mess up that pit entry. Both of those look very good, but if I look at them right now, that gap is down to about 1/10 of a second. So I think Munoz might be able to close up just a bit under the pit rotation here.
Saw David Holland there flying by. Excuse me, that wasn't David Holland. Was it just another red LMP2 throwing me for a loop? No, it was David Holland. Okay, got my bearings straight. It's okay. There's lots of red LMP2s out there, but David Holland, you know, still 8-second differential almost between him and Graham Sanders. He should slot into second. Paulo and Ignacio are away, but they're going to mix right back, just like how the GT3s came out with these guys. Oh, almost a big cross-up there between Paulo. That was Paulo, and these are your GT3 leaders. I guess they're kind of returning the favor when the GT3s came out amongst these two.
And we just had contact that I saw on my side screen there. Looked like Carlos Vila got into contact with a car coming out of the pits that missed the turn, didn't completely make the turn, and ran wide on that pit road exit. I don't know if that caused any damage.
CNC Layton in that LMP2, and it looked like possible net code contact with Carlos Villa. I'm trying to see if that damage actually stuck around with it. Nope, it popped right back out. So Carlos is okay. He has a little bit of right front damage from earlier on. We'll have to see if that affects him at all. He's still within shouting distance of Arnaud Genet, though.
Yeah, he's still there, about 2 seconds off of Genet. He can catch up to him. That is not out of the realm of possibility. We have seen Carlos make brilliant late race runs in that AMG. He's just figured out how to drive it the right way. Unfortunately, running a 22.2 on that last lap, that's not going to help him a whole lot, but that 2 seconds, it could have put him right up there with Genet, who ran at 20.6. Oh no!
And again, Carlos involved in an LMP2 that is not able to make the corner on pit exit.
That's just, wow. There's somebody cast a curse on him. It was not us this time, okay, I promise.
That wasn't that, but that was CNC Layton again. It wasn't a pit on the pit exit, but it was through turn 2. CNC Layton went back, got a little hot. Let's actually go back and take a look at it if we can on the GSRC replay machine. And we'll let our director get that fired up here. And just Carlos Villa just with just terrible luck.
Yeah, just got a little hot, gave him room on the inside, which he should have done. That was the right thing to do. Now let's watch the first one here as he was closing up on Trepanier very nicely there, and then CNC Layton just getting wide coming out of the pits, and that really messed up Carlos's run to be able to catch up and get around Trepanier.
I'm not saying Carlos is out of this thing, but he definitely needs a few things to go his way to get back up there. And if these guys start fighting amongst each other, that very well could happen. But right now, Teddy up in front of this field in the GT3s is having to navigate some LMP2s as well. This time Bernard's getting around him. It looks like that's the Dave Menino machine also getting around him. And in that cycle, looks like Vincent Trepanier was able to gain just a touch on him, but by Trepanier gaining just a touch on him, Genet actually loses just a little bit. So starting to see those leaders spread out just a little bit once again.
Yeah, we're looking at about a second to a second and a half, about a second and a half between Lowendick and Trepanier, and again the same back to Genet. And we're about 2.5 seconds back to Vila. I'm going to be watching that very closely though, because Carlos, he knows how to drive the car at the end of the race, even with a little bit of damage. We're just under 7 minutes to go left in the race here, so there is time. There could be something happening there. I think if anybody can do it, Carlos is certainly the guy to make it happen.
And with all that contact, Layton does have a black flag for damage, so he will be coming down pit road here in a moment as well. So not the kind of exciting day he was looking for, but he got it nonetheless. recapping real quick your top LMP2s. I mean, and once again, we have given the lower class a lot of love here for today because that's been where the most exciting racing has been. Because Graham Sanders in the lead of this LMP2 field has just set the track on fire here for today. He's running 8.2 seconds ahead of David Holland in P2 in your LMP2s. And David Holland himself is 15 seconds up on top of Horatio Calquin. Is looking.
We got a spinner. That one of the Lamborghinis has gone around, but waiting for traffic. Right thing to do. Terrible spot for that to happen. That's Marc-Andre Desjardins out of the looks like turn 5. I want to say going into turn 6. Ooh, lots of damage on that car though. That's not going to help him through the rest of this race.
Yeah, that was a cumulative effort on that damage. He's not had a very good day. So we'll see what happens there. I got to be thinking he's getting close on his incident count too, as Leighton's making his way down pit road to get his damage repaired in his LMP2. But yeah, it's just been another exciting GT3 LMP2 day. I mean, really not much else to say in regards to that. Is looking at Lance Loomis now working his way around Arnaud Genet.
Yeah, trying to get around there. It's really interesting to note the speed difference when they have to brake. You're watching a fairly significant speed differential when they get into the braking zone, but the GT3 is able to wait a little bit later to brake. It's still faster in the LMP2, but it almost looks like there's a little bit of an accordion effect going on there, which there is. But you have to understand there's a 10-15 mile per hour difference going into that braking zone.
Oh, a little wide there for Genet. Man, he's wanting really badly to get back up to his teammate, but that GT3 field really separated out very quickly in the LMP2 traffic. Now you'll be looking at your leader, Graham Sanders, who we were talking about a minute ago, and who in traffic, by the way, has lost almost a second to David Holland, but he could lose a second per lap right now, and he doesn't have a hope in the world of being able to catch him.
Yeah, and something seems to have happened to Trepanier. He is now a little over 2 seconds off of Lovendick, with Genet also about 2 seconds behind him. I think that may simply be dealing with the traffic coming around, but that's getting kind of crazy there that Teddy's just opening this up. We've got about 3.5 minutes left in this race. Teddy can hold on to this. This is going to be 3 positions up on the day. A really good race for Teddy Lowendick.
And took it the right way too. I mean, very, very exciting battle coming off pit road. Carlos Villa cannot give that guy enough credit too. I mean, he was the first one to pull down pit road. We knew something exciting might happen. Then Teddy pulled off, and they're like, "Oh, buddy!" And then he came out near him, and then of course the whole thing there with Vincent and Arnaud coming out as well. So, it hasn't been a perfect race for any one of these guys, but it's kind of accumulated into being shaking up that order just a little bit. And by the way, I do think this could very well. Now I don't have the drop points in front of me, but it could lead to possibly having a tie next week between Teddy and Trepanier for the championship, depending on how things shake out here the rest of this race and the point standings and drop points and all that. I'm not.
And remember those bonus points are in play too. So fastest lap matters. So we've got Trepanier right now about almost exactly a 10th faster on fastest lap over Lovendick. So this is getting to be exciting. J.R. Williams is even faster than that. J.R. Williams pulled in 19.835. Lovendick was at 19.976 with an 8.74 for Trepanier.
So there you go. I mean, you can't even count on those bonus points, but for the way they are. And I'll tell you right now, I learned my lesson a long time ago. I'm not doing the math on the air. We'll do the math later tonight after the race. We'll figure it out then. It's okay. But I'm telling you, if things stand the way they are, we are in our way for an exciting last 3 races in these point standings for this Season 2 championship here in your GT3 class. Todd, talking a little bit about points there in your LMP2 class, and really, we're not going to see a whole lot happen with the exception of Modov's problems. I think he's going to fall, well out of 3rd and 4th, and with Christian Eisler also having problems. But Sanders and Holland, they're going to stay exactly where they're at because, well, we've seen how that race has gone with Sanders just blowing everybody away.
Yeah, and in the LMP2 field right now, we've got P7. We've got a run up towards P6. So Bornand and Menino is closing that gap. He is down to 5/10. He is really 4/10. Something has happened. He's really closed this up. I think it was some traffic issues with an LMP2 car. This has allowed Menino to catch right up to him, but it opens back up to right about a second. This was down to about 0.6 of a second, which caught my attention, but now it's opened back up. I think this race is not over either, even though we got 26 seconds left in this race. Remember, it's the time runs out, then the last lap.
Well, actually, we got Graham Sanders coming down right now. 12 seconds on the clock. He's taking the white flag. So one more trip around for Graham Sanders, which should only equal about 1 minute and 11 seconds or so, as fast as he's been going here for today. And, it's one of those days with some of the for lack of a better word, some of the craziness that we've seen in the LMP2 class today, the fact that we have talked so little about Graham Sanders and David Holland today really speaks to how good of a race they've had.
Yeah, they've been able to kind of define their own race. Both Sanders and Holland have been able to choose what was going on. They were able to really have their spot, get that gap they wanted, and then be able to work the traffic to their advantage. So not any consternation for either of those two drivers. Things back in the farther back in the field, still kind of shaking things up. But even we had a little race going along a little while with Calquin and Rodriguez. That was a good little push for a while, but I think both of them decided to back off a little bit and just take the points for the day.
Well, here comes Graham Sanders taking the win in the LMP2 class race here at Laguna Seca. We go back to Teddy Lowenick, who is coming through the corkscrew right now. Another guy that, just an amazing race today in your GT3 class, and can't say enough exciting things about what we saw here for today. We already saw a moment that was kind of iRacing top 10 worthy a little while ago in the TCRs. I think we had another one on the pit exit for your GT3 class, and Teddy Lowenick is the one that came out in front of that. Shoo-wee.
Yes, get that shoe ready, Teddy. We're ready for you.
Man. And as we got Paulo Munoz, Ignacio Rodriguez coming across the line, your LMP2s, Vincent Trepanier coming home second. Arnaud Genet had some problems, it looks like, there in the last lap or two, coming in with some right front damage. And he actually falls a few positions. We missed that in the run up to the flag. Let's see if we can find it here real quick. And it looks like he caught the curb wrong.
Yeah, here we go, watching the replay as he goes into turn 10 with that LMP2 behind him. He was just a little bit off. I think he was watching his mirrors a little bit with that LMP2 coming up behind him. Sends him off into the wall, tries to recover, get the power down, and nope, a little bit too late. That's after the drive he's had today. That is truly heartbreaking to see that happen. That was such a fantastic drive from Genet. He led the race. He held every position, I think, from first back to where he is right there in P5. So really a bummer. Hate to see that kind of stuff happen on the last lap.
Well, Graham Sanders winning your LMP2 class, Ted Lowenick winning your GT3 class. We'll be right back with the final results and interviews and close out the show in a few minutes.
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
All right, another exciting LMP2 GT3 class multi-class race, this time at Laguna Seca. Graham Sanders coming out on top of your LMP2 class. David Holland in second. Horatio Calquin and Ignacio Rodriguez. And I'm going to give these two, especially Paulo Munoz, also a little bit of a shout out because they battled, the three of these guys, amongst each other all race long. And
yeah, they did.
Third, fourth, and fifth for those guys. Nicholas Bernard coming home after some problems in sixth. Seventh, David Menino. Francisco Montini at eighth. Lance Loomis ninth. And Carl Modoff having some issues as well early on. He'll come home in 10th. Matt Hilton in 11th. Shinzi Layton, we saw his issues. Christian Eisler, Malika Riquelme, and Rodrigo Mies all had that issue on lap one. That GT3 class, though, man, that was exciting.
That was an exciting race. Teddy Lowendick pulling out the win at the end there. It was a brilliant pit strategy. Carlos Villa in third place, also with a brilliant pit strategy, but Vincent Trepanier in second place was able to just outdrive him a little bit, and a little bit of issue with cars coming out of the pits for Villa. So fourth place was Williams. Genet, last lap incident, pushing him back to fifth place. Marier in sixth. Costello, Tremblay, Desjardins, and Bartiome in 10th. 11th place, David Van Roy, and 12th, Tommy Brisson, who I don't think actually took the green flag.
Alrighty, so with that, I mean, we only have one in the ready for interview room so far. So, Michael, let's go ahead and have you talk to Arnaud Genet here. You're, unfortunately having some of the issues right there at the end of the race, but drove a great race nonetheless.
Well, yeah. So, Arnaud, P5 is not where you were today. You were at the front. You were in the podium. Really unfortunate last lap incident. We're not even going to talk about that because I want to talk about the brilliant race you and your teammate ran. Were you like trying to frustrate Teddy through that? Were you guys working together trying to just get in his head and mess with him?
Yeah, at first, Vincent, I didn't have much practice since I was on vacation, so I was pretty, it was quite, unexpected to get that pole position. To get at least close to that pole position, and Vincent made a mistake on lap 2, I think. So he just gave me the go to pass him, and quite quickly we figured that Teddy had an awesome pace, and we were not going to be able to match him. So the only defense we had is to manage well traffic. I think we did that, but in the end, I think Vincent had an incident, so there was no defense for me, and really, like, Teddy had the pace on me. So, he passed me cleanly on the pit strategy, managed to just get ahead of me, and as you've seen, he was so fast, so I can really catch to him. And a good thank you to Carlos, by the way. He made a move. His strategies was also to pit early, and he was just behind me. And in the end, on turn 1, he passed me, but he felt that it wasn't done cleanly, so he gave me back the position. So a good thanks to him. I think sportsmanship in this series, in this league, is quite good, and that was a good example of it. So yeah, and quite unfortunate on the last penultimate lap, but that's what happens when I was a bit stressed out, I think. Not used to be in the podium positions anyway. So yeah, P5 is okay.
P5, but definitely a podium drive. I think you had the podium drive there for sure, because it was you were a class act, just like you were just mentioning with Carlos. I saw that pass go up the inside, and I thought, okay, I think he was clean. Did he actually make contact with you there?
Yeah, I think, well, there was a bit of contact. He definitely, I wasn't able to make to complete the turn since his car was there. But the sim didn't give me any X. We had like only a 0x contact, so just side to side, door to door contact. But no real damage to the car. I think I had like 1.7 seconds of repair in the pit, so nothing really worth anything. So yeah, good thanks to him for great sportsmanship, and he got bad the position anyway, so congrats to him.
Well, Arnaud, beautiful race today. Great watching you and your teammate run that, but I gotta hand it back to Adam real quick. But first, is there anybody you want to thank?
Yes, of course, you guys, GSRC, you're doing an amazing job. ASR for so Advanced SimRacing for sponsoring us as a team, and to all their team is pretty great. Their their gear is awesome. I don't think, well, they probably make me a bit faster, I think. And so congrats to everyone on the league, and thanks to my teammates as well.
Well, hopefully I can get some ASR gear here myself very soon. Thanks for talking to us, but I'm going to hand it off to Adam to talk to, I want to say it's going to be Graham.
Yeah, we pull in our LMP2 winner here today. Graham Sanders picking up his first win of the season in LMP2s, and in dominant fashion. I mean, you were the class of the field today, man.
Thanks very much. That was a fun race. I love this track. It's very fitting that that my first win was here. But the car felt great. Had very, very few mistakes, and got pretty lucky with traffic. So it was a really fun one.
Graham, you've been kind of the epitome of consistency as well in the LMP2 class. I mean, a lot of guys have had problems in and out and everything else, but you've had a measure of consistency, and that's allowed you to get the points lead even without a win. You're just going to add to that here for today. I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good as we go through the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely nice. And I think if I want a shot at this championship, I'm just going to have to just stay consistent. I'm obviously going to want wins, but I just need to hit my marks, be consistent, and just keep getting these podiums.
All right, man. Hey, anybody you'd like to thank here real quick?
I just want to thank the team, all the sponsors, Alpine Stars, GoPro, GSI, Wave Italy, and of course you guys for the broadcast. And I really appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Oh, we appreciate you as well, Graham. Congratulations again on the win here for today. And I think up next, we're going to have our third place finisher in GT3s and Carlos Villa.
Carlos, wow, what a drive. I got to say, your decision to drop into the pits early on and where you came out was absolutely brilliant. That was a stroke of genius when the way you came out with no traffic around you. And I felt so bad when you made contact with that LMP car coming out of the pits. Did you plan on going in that early, or did the way the traffic was evolving and the battle in front of you just dictate you needed to do it then?
Kind of the pace of the race dictated me to do that. We were essentially in a train between Teddy, Vincent, and Andrew. Kind of, it was kind of like an accordion effect. It will separate a little bit and we'll compact again. But I knew once the first cycle prototypes have gone by, I basically needed to do, like, we were not gonna go anywhere, so I needed to do something different. So I put it early, and I knew there will be a gap there where I could just kind of try to get as many hot laps as I could and try to get myself a little bit further forward, which I did, just not enough. Ted was a little bit too quick, so we came alongside each other and we fought a little bit, which kind of cost us a bit of time. And then when Vincent and
Arnaud,
you were right in between. Yeah, we kind of squeezed in, and it was just crazy. It was crazy chaos after that.
Yeah, it was entertaining too. I mean, you guys, the race for first in GT3, which was honestly from first to fourth, you guys, all four of you, were fighting for first place, and it was really entertaining. And honestly, the majority of our broadcast was covering you guys. You guys run so closely together. Is there any type of do you practice together, or same time against each other, or how does that work out?
No, not really. I know the guys put sessions up on Sundays, and they kind of do run in the same session. I don't know if they actually practice together or talk to each other about it. I don't think it'll be too beneficial for me anyway, since I'm in a different car against basically 3 Lambos.
Yeah.
So, but we do kind of keep tabs of what the weekly times are like and kind of where we all fall. But even if we don't do that, like, we're just kind of on that same basically playing field where we're all about the same speed. So, and the championship kind of shows that basically.
I gotta say, this AMG is definitely working for you. It's like you and the AMG are Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. You're dancing together beautifully, and every week you're at the top part of the run. So I hope you stay with the car. I know we've kind of talked about it a couple of times. I like the car, and the car seems to like you. So I really hope you keep this car at the front end of the field.
Yeah, we'll try. I think as we wind down, the schedule does not help me one bit. So I think definitely Vincent. It's the favorite so far. He's just more consistent overall. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. I think we go to Mid Ohio next, which I love that track.
That straight out of the keyhole is going to be your friend running all the way down to China Beach. I think that's going to be the spot where this car is going to shine. So before we jump over to talk to Dave Holland, who do you have to thank?
Oh, everybody at Geodesic, Gomez Sim Industry, who's a fantastic partner and friend of ours, Alpine Star, GoPro, and obviously you guys do a fantastic job week in and week out, so we really appreciate that.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Carlos. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Always a pleasure to watch you race. Looking forward to your next race at Mid Ohio. I wish I were there this weekend with IMSA. It doesn't look like the funding's going to come through from my sponsor, but hey, at least I get to watch you drive this amazing car there next week. But now let's have Adam. Let's toss it back to Adam. He is going to talk to Dave Holland.
Yeah, I bring David Holland in here, who had a great second place run today. I mean, we all talked about how Graham Sanders just kind of ran away with the field, but David Holland was no slouch himself. I mean, 15-second lead over third place. I mean, David, great race today, man.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Adam. Yeah, we're pretty happy with today. We'll take it. I had the most practice laps we've run all week was in the practice right before the race. So all things considered, I knew that I probably didn't have the speed for Graham, but if I could just keep it consistent and run at my comfortable pace, we could maybe be around at the end for a good finish and some good points, and that's what happened. So we'll take it.
And of course, we go into next week, which is Daytona, and Daytona being one of those places that literally anything can happen, and almost a great equalizer of sorts. So you think you got something for Graham there?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know everyone has all their special setups and a million laps around there. So I have a feeling it's probably going to be pretty competitive, but hopefully we can be up front there again. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, hey, you should still come away here second in the points as well. Anybody you'd like to thank for the season you're having so far?
Yeah, definitely got to thank the team, Delta Sport, and my teammate Carl. Unfortunately, it looks like he got caught up in something there early on in the race, which is disappointing, but hopefully we can come back and get him next week. And yeah, got to thank my dad. He's in there having fun, spotting for me, so that's always a good time. And then thank the league, PRL, for organizing, you guys at GSRC for the broadcast. And yeah, see you all next week, hopefully.
Hey, Dave, appreciate you stopping by. Michael, you got to love a father-son team for racing and spotting, and they pulled off quite well. But I think you're going to have the star of the show with Teddy.
Yeah, and here he is, the man of the day, the man of the race. Teddy, you got a lot of coverage. What are you holding down there in your lap? Is there anything special there?
Does it look familiar?
This does. This looks very familiar. We've got the shoey. We hesitated to call the shoey last week, but now here it is live in person. Yet another shoey for Teddy Lowendick. This is awesome. Wow, just taking it all down.
I don't like hardly any dribble at all.
I've gotten better.
Bravo.
The first one, I drank half of it, dumped the rest of it on my head. Probably wasn't a good idea. It was great for you guys, but
oh yeah,
I got it all over my seat. Ended up having to wash that, spray the foam. It was really bad. Second one still got on my seat, so I'm trying to be a little bit better with it.
Yeah, just a little on the shirt this time.
Hey, you don't want any party fouls here right after winning a race.
Exactly. Nobody wants to have that happen. So
okay, so well, as fun as this is, let's talk about some racing, or actually some not racing. Your pit stop. That was really good. So are you somehow finding a way to get this car to use and thereby take on less fuel so that you can make that blazing fast pit stop?
I'm just kind of with the new aero update, it's really hard to pass. So, everybody in this league's really good at defending. So instead of just driving it hard into every corner every time, I'm kind of saving fuel behind them, and it's just enough to give me that little bit of an edge. It's also really difficult to calculate because of the LMP2s, they might go an extra lap, which causes us to do an extra lap, so it's hard to tell if you want to play it safe or risk it. And I was looking at the fuel calculator and was like, we're close if it's not white flag this lap, and thankfully it was, and we made it, so it was good.
So with that, how much fuel did you have at the end of the race? Was there enough for a lap?
No, I would have had to pit if I didn't get the white flag coming to the final lap. So
when the LMP2 winner crossed the line to start his last lap, I think it was 8 seconds left. So was there any point where you may have held him up a little bit that could have gotten you that 8 seconds?
No. I don't know. I would have either probably had to slow down and let him by, because the pit lane's it's lengthy enough to where if you have to make that splash, you're going to lose a ton of time. And there's times throughout the race where they're passing you in spots you don't want to be passed, and you're hoping they're not going to pass you. The high-speed kink on the top of the hill is the most terrifying place for someone to pass us. And I think that happened to Trepignet early in the race. He might have gotten thrown off, and I got by him. And yeah, you just pray that when they go by you, they're not going to hit you. And some of them lifted, which is really great. Appreciate that when they do that. And we all channeled our inner Bob Ross and had minimal happy little accidents, so we're good.
So not to talk about your competitors too much, but I think you've got some competition when it comes to running a pit stop in none other than Carlos Villa.
So I know he beat me by a second.
He was fast in there.
Yeah.
And it looked like he had the move of the race. Somehow yours still worked out. I think he got caught up in some traffic. Is that a worry for you, that his ability to get those quick pit stops even quicker than yours? Do you think that's going to result in a big battle in the next race, especially considering it's Daytona?
Well, Daytona is going to be a draft fest, so that's going to be a fuel-saving nightmare. I'm sure people will probably go, if you can go 2 extra laps compared to the rest of the field, you'll probably win that one. But hats off to Carlos. He's driving the car that I hate to drive, and he's really quick in it. Vincent's really quick. Arnaud took like 2 or 3 weeks off, and he's like talking before the race that he's like, hey, be careful, I might be off pace. And then he goes out there, puts it on pole, and then or puts it P2, and then he leads like 3/4 of the race. I mean...
It's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling my best today. I'll just take pole. Why not?
And JR also, he was quick. I think he had fastest lap of the race. So, man, I mean, it's a fun field. We're all about the same pace. One of us has a little bit of an edge each week, and it's just really fun battles back and forth every week.
Yeah, JR was a 119.606, and you were a 119.976. We were watching Vincent trying to close that up. And he was actually faster. He was almost exactly a 10th faster, and I think it was the same lap or one lap later. So, yeah, it was very tight across that top four. I think I mentioned to someone else, this was a race for first place across 4 different cars. So you guys covered the majority of the race. We had very little else. Everything else was very spread out. But for the majority of the race, it was that 4-way run for first. So next week, Draft Fest, going to be a lot of fun. But for this week, P1 and Ashui, who do you have to thank?
Everybody at RSR Esports, my dad, my mom, happy Mother's Day, a little early Mother's Day, but my wife. I don't know if my cousin's still watching, but I sent him the link to the broadcast, so I hope he's still here. You guys, everybody at PRL, ButtKicker, G Performance, and Formula Hypersoft News. And I think tonight we had Martini and Rossi, if you say that correctly. So those guys.
Yeah, good racing brand there. Very well done. Good choice on your Shui libation.
Thank you.
So with that was Teddy Lowendick for you folks. I got to toss it back to Adam Young to take us out.
Getting the last little bit, and no, he refilled it. He's just doing it again. Shui Part 2 on the night. Thanks, Ted. Thanks for coming by. Hey man, great races out there here for today. Really enjoy this series. I mean, in all season long in both classes, on both races of classes, it's just been fantastic. But we got to say goodbye to round 7 and welcome round 8 here next week. ASR, they design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
And RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebutkicker.com.
Finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance.
Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast, listed there on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check her out, her Bandcamp, for more awesome work. Thanks to the team today, Michael, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, please check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe also to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet as well, so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Hey, next race, the GT4s and TCRs, they're going across the world over to Winton. And the LMP2 GT3s, they're going across the country over to Daytona. That's going to be May 10th, 1 week from today, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We also have other upcoming races for other series listed on your screen, so check those out. Until next time, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.